Jay Happ is the starter tonight for the Blue Jays as they wrap up this 3-game series with the Boston Red Sox. This field level action cam is brought to you by the Samsung Galaxy S8. Unbox your phone. Now the Red Sox are playing well right now. They've got the best record in the American League since the trade deadline at the end of July. Let's take a look at John Farrell's lineup for tonight, including a guy who's been hot ever since he got to Boston, and he's been hot in this series as well. Eduardo Nunez, 4 for 7, a couple of doubles and a home run already here at Rogers Center in this series. And Chris Young back in there as the DH again tonight, and with good reason. He's got some good numbers against Happ.
Jay Happ will take the mound for the Blue Jays. This is start number 20 for Jay. That's 7 out of 9 years now that he has had at least 20 starts in a season. It's been an up and down season for Jay. He had a 3-game win streak at the beginning of this month and 2 3-game losing streaks this season. 1 in April and 1 in July. He's trying to start a new winning streak after losing his last start. That was to Minnesota. He was victimized by the speed of Byron Buxton, a couple of sacrifice flies and a 2-run double in his 6 innings of work against Minnesota.
A couple of new faces in the defense for the Blue Jays. Darwin Marty's playing at third base in place of Josh Donaldson. Steve Pearce was actually the opening day first baseman, but that's the last time he's played first since tonight. Justin Smoke has played 41 straight games at first. Tonight, Pearce gets his second start.
Smoke with a bit of a calf problem, not expected to be serious, just a day off for Donaldson. Former Blue Jay Rajai Davis will lead it off for the Red Sox, picked up recently and had a really good night last night. 2 hits, 2 stolen bases, and 2 runs scored.
Caused all kind of havoc on the bases. He forced a throwing error by Ryan Tepera. You mentioned a couple of stolen bases, scored a couple of runs, exactly what the Boston Red Sox were looking for when they acquired him. Give him some speed and a little juice at the top of that lineup.
Picked him up when Jackie Bradley Jr. went on the DL. Bradley's still out with a thumb injury, but he's getting closer. 1-2 from Happ. Well located a fastball that Davis has to fight off foul out of play. Jay Happ and Rick Porcello, the 2 starters tonight, combined to go 42-8. A year ago, Porcello went 22-4, won the Cy Young Award. Happ went 20-4. He finished 6th in Cy Young balloting. They're a combined 15-28 this year. Ground ball to short. Got to hurry with Davis, and Goins will get him by a step. And for Jay Happ, Buck, it's really been a year of ups and downs, inconsistency. In the last couple of starts, he's given up 5 earned runs in each.
Yeah, he sure has, and he's been a little bit too much in the middle of the plate. And when he is good, he's working the corners. But you see 17 hits in 11 innings and 10 earned runs. He's still not walking many, but the biggest problem for him is he can't live in the middle of the plate. He always uses that high fastball, and he'll get a lot of swings and misses on that high fastball. And then he's starting to incorporate a few more curveballs, and the cutter is always a pitch he uses effectively against the right-handed hitters.
Here's Eduardo Nunez.
He was telling me earlier this week when I was talking to him, saying, you know, your games haven't been that bad. It's just been victimized of a couple of key hits here, a couple of key plays there. He says, I'm trying to use my curveball just a little bit more. Everybody knows I throw a lot of fastballs and I can cut the ball when I need to. But if I can spin the ball, take a little something off of that pitch and get them off of my fastball, I think I'll have a little bit more success.
He's been keeping the ball in the ballpark, has not allowed a home run in his last 6 starts, covering 35 2/3 innings. As he faces Nunez, picked up from the Giants. So the Red Sox getting Rajai Davis, prior to that getting Eduardo Nunez, calling up Rafael Devers, their 20-year-old third baseman. They picked up Addison Reed for the bullpen. So Dave Dombrowski's been busy over the last month or so.
Well, it's easy when you have a solid core of players and you say, okay, we need a piece here, we need a part there, and Dave Dombrowski's always been proactive. As soon as Jackie Bradley Jr. hurt his thumb, Dombrowski didn't know how long he was going to be out, so he goes out and gets Rajai Davis. Then they dip down into their minor leagues to a guy that started at Double-A, Rafael Devers.
Well struck ball to right, Bautista back, and it's over his head and off the wall. Nunez into second base easily with a 1-out double. Man, what a series he is having.
He's got some pop. We saw that in the first inning in yesterday's game as he doubled off the top of the wall in in that one. That was off of Brian Anderson yesterday. Four-seamer down and away, and he's got some power the other way. That ball slicing the other way. He also had another double in the 6th inning, and he walked and got out at the plate in yesterday's game on 3 times.
Here's Andrew Benintendi, center fielder again, with Bradley still on the DL. Benintendi hitting .330 in the month of August, and in his young big league career, which goes back to the late stages of last year, he's hitting .347 with the runners in scoring position. So he's done very well, especially for a young kid, in clutch spots, and he's got a runner out at second base here right now in Nunez.
Good sinker there as he was able to get it down inside. And Benintendi, here he is, 23 years old, hitting 3rd in the Boston lineup as they're trying to make another run at the division title. And they have confidence in Benintendi. He's in 12 straight road games, so it doesn't make any difference where this youngster's play, and he swings the bat with a lot of confidence.
Hitting over .380 over that last stretch. Also, he's learning. He's learning as a hitter. He's got that beautiful base as a swing to work with.
What do you mean by beautiful base?
Well, you watch him, you can see him so balanced. As a young hitter, he does a lot of good things. Balanced at the plate. He's got great hand-eye coordination. Doesn't overstride, doesn't overswing. It's just the same swing every single time. He's got 72 RBIs for this team.
You guys said last night he reminds you a little bit of Fred Lynn, which is a big compliment. Fred Lynn won Rookie of the Year and MVP back in 1975.
Yeah, obviously he's got a long way to go to accomplish those numbers, but his swing is a lot like Fred Lynn's.
Pierce has it. He'll win the race to the bag for the 2nd out. Nunez to 3rd.
They mentioned Pierce playing at first for the first time since opening day. The thought was that Pierce and Smoke would platoon at first base, and then Smoke got off to such a great start. Pierce never got back to first.
Isn't that funny how that works? The guy starts hitting, and as a manager, you're going to find a spot for him. Nice play right there. He was out early today with his first baseman's glove, getting some ground balls from Louis Rivera.
Smoke's got a little bit of a calf injury. Justin had played 41 straight games since he was last off the bag at first base defensively. And for Pierce, he's making his 183rd start at first, so he's no stranger to that position for sure.
Well, how differently things have worked out than maybe they were expected to work out in the offseason. Felt like Pierce would probably play as much first as left for the Blue Jays, but the way that Smoke has played this year, that was just taken right out of the equation.
Platoon. That's what we kept hearing in spring training. Maybe there's going to be a platoon over at first base. Remember, Steve couldn't throw at the beginning of the season in spring training because of the elbow surgery, and he played the outfield the last week or so of spring training. But you start hitting, and they're going to find you a position.
Smokey's played every day, and I asked him how he was going to handle this night off. He said, just like I did last year.
He did that a few times.
He didn't play much.
Ball to strike, the count on to Mookie Betts, the cleanup hitter for the Red Sox, hitting .263, 18 home runs. Going half right on the corner with the knees. Back-to-back changeups, I think, there from Happ, and he jumps out in front, 1-2.
Mookie Betts hit .384 against the Blue Jays in 2015. In 16, he hit .188. Blue Jays really handled him easily last year. Not the case again this year. He's back up to big numbers against the Jays.
He can hit the fastball as well as anybody in baseball. He's strictly a pull hitter. I think that's why they're trying to throw him a few more off-speed pitches.
Be careful in there.
And didn't get it in quite where Lopez wanted it.
He's one of the best right-handed hitters at hitting an inside strike and keeping it fair down the left field line. He has such a knack for getting his hands through the hitting zone where he drags the barrel and can square it up, pull it, but keep it fair and keep it from hooking. Chili Davis, the veteran hitting coach, said it's remarkable for a young hitter to be able to do that so well.
Happ off the mound in time to first to get Betts and end the inning. So the Nunez double is stranded at 3rd. It'll be Rick Porcello to the mound for the Red Sox with the Blue Jays coming up. First here at Rogers Center. And a good view from the seats right behind the plate. A leadoff hitter, Ezekiel Carrera. He's in the lineup, leading off and playing left field tonight against Rick Porcello and the Red Sox. Jose Bautista hitting in the 3 spot. He's got good career numbers, very good career numbers against Rick Porcello, and a lot of big numbers against the Red Sox in his career. And Kevin Pillar hitting in the 5th spot tonight, another guy with some solid numbers against Porcello.
.333 average against Porcello, and Rick Porcello looks like he's getting back on track after losing just 4 games all last season and winning the Cy Young. Porcello takes 8-15 record into tonight's game. He has won 4 of his last 5 starts. In 27 starts this season, Porcello has given up 3 runs or less 17 times, so his record might indicate a lack of runs scored instead of poor pitching. Blue Jays faced him just once this season. It's back on April the 19th.
And in that game, Porcello gave up 3 runs, but they were all unearned in 7 innings of work. It was a 3-0 Blue Jay win. A couple of errors. And then Darwin Barney had a big hit in that game. It'll be Carrera, Pierce, and Bautista. Again, no Josh Donaldson, just a night off. No Justin Smoak. A minor calf situation that he's dealing with right now. So this is a very unusual looking lineup. You know, you include in that, you know, Donaldson out, Smoak out. Of course, Troy Tulowitzki done for the year. Devin Travis not here. Russell Martin on the DL.
That's very difficult when you have so many of your regulars out of the lineup to compete. But the Blue Jays done a pretty good job. They have made a lot of these games close, and I know close doesn't count in baseball. You got to win game, but when you have so many of your regulars out of the lineup, it's very challenging.
And Carrera goes around to strike out.
Last night, Chris Sale had a nice night throwing the breaking ball. A lot of the Blue Jay hitters couldn't pick up his breaking ball, and tonight Porcello's breaking ball looks pretty good too, as Carrera tries to hold up, tries to check his swing on that breaking ball. Blue Jays are a team that they are built for power, and when they've got so much offense out of the lineup, they're going to have to figure out ways to score runs without the home run.
Here's Steve Pearce hitting in the 2 spot tonight with Carrera leading off. And Pearce lines the ball up the alley in left center field. And it's going to split the outfielders and get to the fence. Pearce into second with a 1-out double.
Pearce has been struggling to swing the bat. He had a rough night last night against Chris Sale. He said, I'm playing first base. I haven't gotten any hits. And sure enough, he gets a double in his first at bat. He knows that's going to go up the alley in left center. So he turns and burns right around first base and ends up at second with a 1-out double. Pierce said, you know, I haven't played first base in so long, and I haven't been on base so long. It's going to be strange if I happen to get a hit.
That was a lazy breaking ball right there. That didn't do much. And good major league hitters like Pearce, they're going to hit it hard.
So here's Bautista hitting .207, 20 home runs on the year. We mentioned some very good numbers against Rick Porcello, a .381 lifetime average. So maybe this is the guy where Bautista can try to break out of it against. Bautista 16 for 42 with 4 homers against Porcello.
Yeah, Porcello has given up 4 homers to Bautista. It's a group of 4 pitchers. O'Day, Kevin Slowey, Hiroki Kuroda, and Porcello have all surrendered 4 home runs to Bautista. Lester's given up 5, and David Price 6. Bautista connects against a who's who of pitchers in the East.
And I think he knows that he has good numbers against Porcello, because when he got in the cage today, he was telling everybody, hey, watch out, I'm going to make some loud sounds tonight.
It's a lot chattier today in the cage than he's been recently. Been a tough stretch for him. 0-2 the count. Porcello out in front.
Staying with that fastball, and that's been a problem for Bautista. Jose, over his last 52 games, batted just 164, and you see what he's done over his last 23 games, 169.
Here's the lead out at second. No balls, 2 strikes. The count on Bautista. And a curveball to get him swinging for the 2nd out.
that is the difference right there between a good curveball and a bad curveball. The bad one was hit for a double. The good one, watch it snap down and get out of the strike zone. The super slow-mo brought to you by the Samsung QLED, the next innovation in TV. Second strikeout of the night for Porcello, and he gets a dangerous hitter in Bautista.
The cleanup hitter is the DH Kendrys Morales. He'll come up with 2 down and a runner at second. No score in the bottom of the first. Morales went 2 for 3 last night, which is saying something because the Blue Jays only had 4 hits in the game, only had 3 of them off Chris Sale, and Morales had 2 of those 3.
Yeah, I got a couple of good pitches up out over the plate, just like that last hanger he got from Porcello. That's why he chased it. It was high, but it was a high breaking ball.
And he saw it. That's 3 multi-hit games in his last 7, so maybe he is starting to come around a little bit offensively.
Elaborate set of signs with a runner out at second there from catcher Christina Vasquez, who has some, whether it's whiteout, orange whiteout, or nail polish or something on his fingernails, just to help Porcello be able to see the signs a little bit better.
This is only the second game that Vasquez has caught Porcello all season long. The Red Sox match up their catchers with their specific pitchers, but because Vasquez is swinging the bat so well, he catches Porcello tonight.
Vasquez went 4 for 4 on a Monday night in the opening game of the series.
Vasquez catches Rodriguez, Pomerantz, and David Price. Of course, Price is on the DL. Sandy Leon, he catches Sale, Porcello, and Pfister normally, but because of the great night that Vasquez had 2 nights ago, he is back there behind the plate for Porcello.
And a swing and a miss. Morales strikes out. So 3 strikeouts in the inning, and the Pierce double is stranded.
Rogers Center for the first time since suffering that gruesome ankle injury back on July 28th in a game against the Angels. Troy Tulowitzki met with the media earlier this afternoon. Now, he said yesterday was a big day for him. Why? Well, he had the cast removed from his right ankle, and now he's sporting a gray walking boot. Tulowitzki said he hasn't been able to bring himself to watching the replay of his ankle turning almost a 90-degree angle, but did recall this, quote, hitting that ball up the middle. Now with the shift a little bit, you know the guy was there. I watched the ball coming, then C.J. Cron's foot might not have been in the best spot. It was on top of the bag. So I'm watching the ball. He's on top of the bag, so it was kind of the worst of both things. Now Tulowitzki knew right away it was pretty bad, but he refused to be carted off. He was adamant he'd walk off the field under his own power to ease the concerns of family and friends. And in his mind, Dan, quote, it was the right way to do it.
All right, Hazel, thank you. The first batter of the second for the Red Sox, Xander Bogaerts, with a fly ball to deep left, but a room for Carrera. All right, let's talk a little bit more about Tulo. He said he is definitely done for this year. Just got into the walking boot, was here in Toronto seeing some doctors, and he said he anticipates pretty extensive rehab over the winter, hopes to be 100%, anticipates being 100% for spring training, and then said a lot of things like he didn't have the kind of year he wanted. He's got to be better next year, and he's going to do everything he can this winter to be better next year.
Yeah, he's got a whole winter of rehab ahead of him. having gone through that same type of rehab. It's going to be a long process, and he'll be ready for spring training. But he said, you know, I didn't have the kind of year I wanted to, and then he had the hamstring injury. First time he's ever having a hamstring injury as well. That happened early in the season out in Anaheim. So he missed 31 games there, and you know, anytime you miss a big chunk of the season, I don't care how good you are, it's going to affect your season, and I think that was a problem for Tulowitzki early on.
Ankle injury, first time he's had an ankle injury, and first of all, he's got to get that better. Torn ligaments in your ankle, sometimes it's worse than breaking your ankle, breaking a bone. So you're going to have to get the piece of hitting right there. You're going to have to get that thing better. Then you're going to have to like build everything else up around your bottom half so you can have a good season.
So
offensively.
Defensively, Tulowitzki was asked, hey, do you anticipate potentially a position change? Third base wasn't mentioned, but the implication was, do you think perhaps at this stage of your career it's time to consider, or that it may be considered on your behalf for a position change? And that was as adamant, I don't want to use the word defiant, but as adamant as Troy Tulowitzki can get. He got his back up a little bit, and he said, I came in as a shortstop, I intend to go out as a shortstop, and talked about some of the intangibles he thinks, you know, things that can't be quantified by defensive analytics, and so on and so forth. And it was interesting. His eyes got a little wide when he answered that.
No, he was genuine about it. He says, hey, I'm a shortstop, and I bring a lot of things to the game, and I agree with that. He does. He slowed the game down for a lot of his infielders. He helps the pitching staff on a regular basis, and he says, I'm going to be a shortstop. And you know what? He's heard this since he signed, because he was a little bit bigger guy. He's not a real fast guy, but he plays shortstop by instincts and intuition and watching the ball flight, and gets great jumps at shortstop and makes plays that nobody else can make, even though he might not be as athletic as a Lindor or a Correa or some younger guys like that. He still plays it at a very high level.
Everything that is hit to him, he makes it out, and that's what you want from your shortstop. He also said defensive analytics and zone ratings and things like that. He doesn't believe in that kind of stuff because there's more to playing the position of shortstop than analytics.
Well, it goes without saying, a healthy Troy Tulowitzki would go a long way towards the Blue Jays getting closer to their goals next year. I don't know if anybody does or should expect him to be the Tulowitzki of 2010, 11, 12, some of his heyday years with Colorado. Down it in 2-2 to Hanley Ramirez, and the runner holds his ground at first. But if they can just get, say, 140 games out of him, and even if it's just the kind of year he had last year, that would be an improvement over the way things went this year.
There was one thing that was asked about him. Is this as tough a season as you've ever had? He said no. He said, I was on a 100-loss team in Colorado, and those are tough days. So he said, yeah, it was disappointing because of the last 2 seasons we had, but at the same time, I didn't play as well as I'd hoped to play. I didn't play as well as I needed to play, and I hope to play better next year, and I'm going to do everything I can to get ready for that.
And the bottom line with him is always about the team. It's never about himself, which is refreshing. It's about the team. It's about winning. And I like how he stood up and said, you know, I didn't have the type of season like I thought I should, or I thought I could. So I'm going to work a lot harder in the offseason to come back and have a good offensive season next year.
Let's see if John Farrell is going to roll the dice here. Devers is at first. A full count on Ramirez with a 1 out of the Boston second. Not going, and a swing and a ground ball up the middle to the bag one, back to first for the double play. Nicely done by Refsnyder and Goins up the middle to turn the 4-6-3 inning-ending double play. Happ got the ground ball, Refsnyder the quick flip, and Goins on to first in plenty of time. Sale for the third time last night. For the third time, they didn't score off him this year. He hasn't given up a run to the Blue Jays this year, and in his career, Buck, he's got the best ERA against the Blue Jays, minimum 60 innings pitched in franchise history.
Yeah, and you look at the 150 earned run average, and that's a minimum of 60 innings pitched. And Alex Fernandez, the great young pitcher with the White Sox, he was dominant. Mariano Rivera also on that list, and the Boston single-season strikeout leader. Now, you look at the record for the Red Sox, Pedro 313 and 99, and now Sale, by projection, is projected to beat that record and be the all-time strikeout leader for the Red Sox. But, you know, he's still got to pitch those games. But the way he's throwing right now, it is well within his reach.
264 strikeouts in his first 27 starts for the Red Sox. Not bad for his first season in a Red Sox uniform.
When you break a franchise record for a franchise that has had Roger Clemens, Pedro Martinez, and a guy named Cy Young, you're having yourself a pretty good year.
Babe Ruth wasn't too bad either.
That's right. He was a great pitcher for the Red Sox back before he went to the Yankees. And Pedro Martinez, not only the last Red Sox pitcher to have 300 strikeouts in a season, the last American League pitcher to have 300 strikeouts in a season. Looks like Sale is on his way there.
Well, he got his 1,500th strikeout last night against this man right here, Kevin Pillar. Struck out Pillar to record 1,500 strikeouts. He did it in 1,290 innings. That's the fewest innings required to get 1,500 strikeouts. There's a good curveball.
And Pillar rung up on strikes. 4 outs, 4 strikeouts for Porcello.
You know, and to put things in perspective for Chris Sale, 264 strikeouts in 27 starts. It's his first season with the Boston Red Sox. Over the last 30 years, only 4 other pitchers have had that many strikeouts in their first season with a team. One of the guys' name was Nolan Ryan, Roger Clemens, Randy Johnson, and Max Scherzer. Some pretty good strikeout artists.
Well, how many good pitchers have we seen come into Boston and try to make adjustments? Josh Beckett comes to mind from Florida. And he had a tough first year. Gave up, I think, 36 home runs in his first year pitching for the Red Sox. And it's not an easy transition. First of all, you're coming into a small ballpark as a left-handed pitcher in the American League East. Those are challenges, and Chris Sale has met every one of those challenges this season.
How about David Price just last year, and how difficult his transition was to Boston.
Which surprises me because he has pitched in the American League East before, the small ballparks.
But he hasn't pitched for the Red Sox.
Yeah, well,
and
that's
he
a different
hasn't pitched
animal.
under that microscope.
That's a different animal.
That is
right?
a different atmosphere in Fenway. And John Farrell was talking about it. He said they're getting on Mookie Betts because he only has 18 home runs.
And is only driven in 77. David Ortiz was the lightning rod last year. Could handle all of that.
You know, New York gets criticized for a lot of his talk shows, but the Boston talk shows are as rough as anybody. I mean, they're right there with Philadelphia Phillies and their talk shows in Philadelphia. But Boston, I mean, they can eat you alive if you've got thin skin.
Says he walks into those media gatherings after the ball game, and there might be 10 or 12 cameras sitting there waiting for him, and maybe 30 people, 30, 40 newspaper people.
For a Tuesday night game against Tampa Bay.
Exactly.
In that spacious clubhouse.
1-2 the count on Ryan Goins, getting another start at short. He's on an 8-game hitting streak right now, hitting .379 during that stretch, .227 overall.
Yeah, all of a sudden Ryan has created a little more attention for himself, and pitchers are pitching him a little bit tougher. We saw this last night with Sale. He really threw him some nasty pitches, threw him breaking balls inside, breaking balls away, and all of a sudden when you start to hit, people start paying attention to you.
It's ironic that Goins and Troy Tulowitzki are tight as going to be in the clubhouse. They are buddies, kind of like a big brother, little brother feel to it. And with Tulowitzki suffering the injury, the guy who has benefited in terms of playing time has been Ryan Goins. He's become an everyday player since Tulo went out.
Yeah, he sure has, and he's done a heck of a job. And this is his role. He did it last year when Devin Travis went out. He stepped in and played second and played like an everyday player.
Getting those extra at-bats and those consistent at-bats. Look at the numbers. I don't think it's a surprise that he's driven in 51.
Be interesting to see. Hazel talked a little bit about Devin Travis, who apparently has had another setback, and they've backed him off his rehab, still experiencing some discomfort in the knee. And you know, you wish for better things for Devin, one of the nicest kids you'll ever meet, but he's been unable to stay healthy on a consistent basis. And you wonder, heading into the 2018 season, assuming everybody under contract is back, what the rotation is like in the middle of the diamond for the Blue Jays.
You know what he wants to have? He wants to have a normal offseason. He hasn't had a normal offseason since 2013.
Hit a home run with any project this season. Home Hardware, proud sponsor of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Bottom of the second at Rogers Center. The roof closed for the first time this series. No score between the Red Sox and the Blue Jays. Ryan Goins at first with one down for Darwin Barney. Barney at third base tonight with Josh Donaldson getting a night off. Barney 6 for 11 in his career against Porcello. The runner is going. Throw to second. They'll still get the out on Goins and turn the double play to end the inning. Bang bang at second. A good throw by Porcello, and even with the runner going, the Red Sox will turn the double play, and we are scoreless because of that now at the end of 2.
Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new 2017 Honda CR-V. With revamped cargo space, it's the biggest van yet.
We go top 3 at Rogers Center. Just last half inning, we said, the first time the roof is closed this series. Spoke too soon. It looks like we're going to have a mid-game roof opening here at the old ballpark. Never a bad thing. Chris Young will lead it off for the Red Sox. The DH hitting in the 8th spot, 5 for 15 with a couple of homers against Jay Happ in his career. And takes just a little bit down for ball 1.
John Farrell was talking about Chris Young today in a scrum with the Riders, saying his calling card has hit left-handed pitching, and this year he just hasn't done it like he has in the past. So it's been an odd year for him. He's handled right-handed pitching better than left-handed pitching, where in the past his splits have been the other way around. He gets to start tonight against the lefty.
Happ just missed inside for ball 2. Happ 88 and 75 in his career, a 3.99 ERA coming into the game tonight. Faced the Red Sox back on July the 18th. Gave up a couple of runs in 5 innings. John Gibbons with lots of good things to say about Brett Anderson again before the game today, after that strong 5 2/3 inning performance by Anderson, who, you know, assuming nothing goes wrong and he stays healthy, they're going to run him out there every 5 days through the month of September.
Yeah, they sure are. Donaldson and Goins are both very complimentary of Anderson. because of the way he worked, the pace in which he pitched at, and it kept everybody involved, everybody engaged. And Donaldson went to him and said, "Hey, man, I really appreciate the way you work quickly. It keeps us on the toes on the infield."
Gibby wasn't aware that he worked that quick. He said it reminded him a lot of Mark Burley, the way he went out there and pitched. But open auditions for the Blue Jays, I think, for the last month of the season for next year.
With Anderson and Joe Biagini expected to fill the 4th and 5th spots of the rotation as of now. There will be call-ups, of course. September the 1st, just a couple of days away. And Gibby said before the game he anticipates some players coming up Friday and then others maybe a few days after that, either because they're going to play out the rest of the season, which ends on Labor Day Monday, or because they were sent down and you can't come back for 10 days. That's a new rule this year. Even at this point of the season, if you're demoted, say a guy like Leonel Campos can't come back for 10 days, even if the minor league season ends. So, but expecting Anderson and Smiling Joe to get some starts the rest of the way. It'll be a very interesting month for Biagini. He's a big factor heading into the offseason. The Blue Jays trying to figure out exactly what they have in terms of starting pitchers going into next year.
Yeah, they have to find out who their candidates for the rotation are going to be next spring. And he, of course, they thought about it in this past spring, but they kept him in the bullpen. And then when they had a need, they thrust him into those 11 starts early in the season without much preparation for it. So now they feel like they've prepared him properly by sending him back to Buffalo. And now he has to go out there and pitch like a starter and impress them to the point where they will consider him next spring.
I guess another question mark is Marco Estrada, free agent at the end of the year. Does he want to come back? Do the Blue Jays want him back? Can they agree on terms? As this year has shown, you need a lot of starting pitching. You need more than 5. The Blue Jays have used 14 this year, which is never a good thing. But it'll be a very interesting free agent period for Marco Estrada. Ground ball down to third, fair ball, long throw to second, in time back to first. They don't get him there, but a good job by Barney playing third base tonight to force the lead runner.
Vasquez had 4 hits in the game on Monday, and he made a bid for extra bases right here, but Barney was shaded over near the foul line, so he goes into foul ground, backhands it, and then throws a strike to second. Look where Barney is, just a couple of strides from the foul line. He takes it into foul territory and is able to get the lead runner at second base, but they can't turn 2.
Good play by Refsnyder. It doesn't have a lot of reps out at second base. He just caught the ball right before it hit the dirt. Tried to turn 2. A little bit different look on the Blue Jays inner defense tonight.
Here's Rajai Davis. No score, top of the 3rd inning between the Red Sox and the Blue Jays. 1 on, 1 out for Davis, who grounded out his first time up. The 0-1, and he chases a ball outside. 0-2.
Dan, to finish that point about the pitching, where is it going to come from next year? There's 3 ways to acquire pitching. You can trade for it, you can sign it as a free agent, or you can develop it. Assuming you can't trade for it because you don't want to start trading your young players, and you can't sign free agents, top free agents. You got to develop it, and I think that's what the Blue Jays are going through right now, that they have to start developing some of their own pitchers up through their farm system. They're not going to be able to trade for them. They've gotten lucky on some of the trades.
Yeah.
Lucky in terms of they've got big league talent who've had good years here.
But I would guess that if Estrada's not re-signed, my guess would be somebody else is signed as a free agent. Maybe not a top-notch guy, maybe a mid-level guy, but
and try and catch lightning in a bottle again.
Yeah, they need somebody.
Yeah, they got to have bodies.
Somebody.
There's nobody in AA. There's nobody in AAA. Tom Kohler's one of those guys. Nick Tepesch is one of those guys. Brian Anderson now. They're going to look at him, but they don't have much depth.
If you buy it on the open market, it's expensive. It's almost like you have to spend $1 million for every win that the guy had the year before. So if he won 10 games the year before, you're paying $10 million a year. That's tough.
Especially when you're not going to be an upper echelon team in your division. You got to wait a little bit longer until you have all the right pieces in place before you really jump back into that free agent market.
Yeah, so maybe just again a mid-level stopgap guy or something for a year or 2. Swing and a miss.
You know,
boy, good jump on that.
Yeah, one of those cheap $8-9 million pitchers.
Yeah.
You know who
who
the wild card guy is in all this? Aaron Sanchez.
Right.
We haven't seen Aaron at all this year, basically. that if he can come back and give him 200 innings next year and win 15 games, that's one slot right there.
Nunez strikes out. Good inning for Happ. Couple of strikeouts here in the third. To the bottom of the third at Rogers Center, still no score.
For Slow-Mo Cam. Brought to you by the Samsung QLED, the next innovation in TV.
Enjoying those comfy green chairs in the TV comfort zone are guests from one of TV's community partners. Welcome, everybody. Hope you enjoyed tonight's ball game. Dan.
Thank you, Hazel. Some folks have come all the way from the UK to see the Blue Jays here tonight. You got some pretty good seats, too. Well done. Bottom three, no score. Red Sox and the Blue Jays. Blue Jays trying to salvage the final game of this series before heading off for a 4-game series to Baltimore. The Orioles won again today. A lot of day game action on this Wednesday. Baltimore beats Seattle 8-7 in a wild one at Camden Yards. Baltimore is hot as anybody right now, and at the moment just a game back of the second wild card spot, currently held by Minnesota. The Twins home to the White Sox tonight.
Everybody in that Baltimore lineup is swinging the bats well, and of course Jonathan Scope, he hit his 30th home run today. Mancini hit his 23rd, and Wellington Castillo, he went 4 for 4, drove in 3 runs and hit his 16th home run.
Trey Mancini's the guy no one's talking about. Kind of under the radar rookie. Aaron Judge and Andrew Benintendi, rookies, getting all the talk this year, and as they should. Trey Mancini's right there with them when you compare their numbers.
23 home runs, 71 RBIs, and he's hitting .294.
And where is he hitting in their lineup?
Hitting fifth.
Driven to right field off the bat of Lopez and gone. His second big league home run, and the Blue Jays have the lead.
Watching that at bat from Raffi Lopez, it looked like he was sitting on breaking ball. The first 2 pitches from Porcello were fastballs right there, and he didn't budge at all. Got to 2 strikes, and it looked like he was still sitting on that breaking ball. Finally got one and hit his second home run of the season.
Remember, guys, he's had a couple of balls hit a ton down the right field line of a just foul since he got up to the big leagues, as Ref Snyder grounds out. So he's happy to straighten one out and hit it out of here for home run number 2.
He's got some power. 16 home runs in the minor leagues. Here comes Porcello curveball. And like the Pierce curveball, it stays over the middle of the plate. Look at the head go straight down and the eyes track that ball. He's got a little pop in that bat as he connects for another home run.
Getting a chance to play with Russell Martin on the DL. And Lopez, 29 years of age. He's had a couple of cups of coffee in the big leagues before getting to the Blue Jays this year. Played 7 games with the Cubs in 2014, 8 games with the Reds last year. But this is the most playing time he's ever had in the big league.
Yeah, and he's done a decent job for them. And like you said, he's got a little bit of power, and that's a great feeling to contribute and give the Blue Jays the lead. That's just his second big league homer.
Stand-up guy, too. He had the problems that one inning in Chicago versus the Cubs, but he was right there to answer your questions when you asked about, you know, why didn't you throw to first? Why couldn't you break down and block those balls into dirt? Stand-up guy. And you know, you like that.
1-2 to Ezekiel Carrera, and it runs back over the inside corner for strike 3 call.
The all-new 2017 Civic Si. When it leads off, it leads for good. Honda, proud fan since 1977 and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Along with Buck Martinez, Pat Tabler, Dan Schulman here at Rogers Center. The Blue Jays leading the Red Sox 1-0 on the home run by Raffi Lopez. 2 down on the bases empty for Steve Pearce, who lined a double to left center his first time up. Snapping it 0 for 19. Pearce, if you weren't with us off the top of the show, getting the start at first because Justin Smoke, he is out tonight, a minor calf issue. Josh Donaldson also getting the night off. Darwin Barney's at third. Rob Refsnyder's at second. As Porcello falls behind 2-0. A high fly ball to shallow center field. And in comes Benintendi. That'll end the inning. But the Blue Jays strike first. Porcello surrenders a home run to Raffi Lopez, the catcher's second major league homer. And at the end of 3, the Blue Jays lead 1-0.
All day today, Jays Care led a social media campaign titled #SportTeaches. The campaign fosters a conversation surrounding sport for development, the importance of physical activity for youth, and all the life skills that kids learn through sport. Follow @Jays Care on Twitter and Instagram, like on Facebook, and share the #SportTeaches from August 29th through the 30th to join in on the conversation. Dan, it looks like the roof is opening.
We're happy about that. We saw them open up the flap a little while ago. Weren't sure if they were going to open, but there it goes. So we'll get a few innings of the night sky and some fresh air here tonight as Andrew Benintendi leads off the 4th for the Red Sox. The Blue Jays up 1-0 on the home run by Raffi Lopez. Jay Happ on the mound for the Blue Jays tonight, facing Benintendi, Betts, and Bogarts. Ref Snyder to his right and on to first in time. 1 down. Beauty Tone, Canada's color experts, available exclusively at home hardware and building center locations. Red Sox with a lot of these young players, and it almost seems like to join the club your last name has to start with the letter B. They got Benintendi and Betts and Bogarts and Bradley, who's not in the lineup tonight. Mookie Betts grounded out his first time up.
The Astros, of course, had the killer bees years ago with Berkman, Biggio, and Bagwell, and these guys are taking it a step further. They're very close. They're guys that came through the system, and they really hang out together. They do a lot of things off the field together, and then when they're on the field, you can see it when they're all in the outfield, especially when Bradley's in the center. A lot of communication, a lot of talking. They have a lot of fun while they play.
This team is as close as the 2013 team, the Boston Red Sox. Talking to some of the coaches before the game who was here in 2013, they said that team seemed like every night 24 guys would go out. Everybody but the starting pitcher, and that was the year of the bombing, the marathon bombing.
3 balls and a strike on Betts. So you hear things both ways. The Oakland A's teams, you competed against them in the early 1970s. They didn't like each other at all. Yankee teams were brawling with each other. Does being a close team make you a better team? Does it help you win more games?
I think it does. Yeah? I think it'll get you through harder times. I think you'll try to play well for your teammate, especially if he's your buddy. I think you look at teams over the years that have had a lot of homegrown talent, and they have the ability to consistently win.
A towering fly ball to center field. In comes Pilar.
When you go back to the 2002 Angels, they got their brains beat out together in the big leagues, and then it all came together under Mike Scioscia. And a lot of those guys came through the system. Garrett Anderson, Darren Erstad, Troy Percival. A lot of those players grew up together. Then you take it to the 2003 Marlins. There were a lot of homegrown guys that came up together. And the Boston Red Sox, and now, of course, the Yankees. We all know about the core 4. And, you know, what they eventually called the Fab 5, because they included Bernie Williams in that. But they were all homegrown talent. And
Bernie Williams got a raw deal there.
Oh, yeah, he's part of that,
How was he not part of that?
Yeah.
How do you not put him in
Core
that?
4 was cooler
crazy.
than the Fab 5.
Yeah.
Just to say that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, but, you know, John Schuerholz always talks about it. And he said when they had the 14 straight season of winning division championships, the secret sauce to success was homegrown talent, because you fight through things together. You might fight like brothers at bad times, but you'll fight like brothers and get through bad times as well.
Fight with each other and fight for each other.
I don't know if you've played on teams that were very talented, but they weren't close together and you didn't win. I played on teams like that we could out-talent the other team, but we couldn't beat them as a team. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And lesser talented teams were together because they wanted to play for their teammates. They wanted to win.
You do the little things. You know, you see something and you talk about it, and you're a close-knit team. So there's something to that.
3-1 to Xander Bogaerts. Looked pretty good, but called low for ball 4, and you can see Happ with a bit of a confused look on his face.
A.J. Hinch has that going with the Astros now. They've got a bunch of guys that all signed with the Astros, came up through the minor league system. Now they're playing together in the big leagues. And then what he did was he insisted on going out and getting a presence, he called it. So he went out and he got Beltran and Reddick and McCann, the veteran players that had played on winners before. And then they've had a kind of a bonding experience with those veteran players.
Reminds me of the Cleveland teams in the 90s, where they built their team through their farm system. Their young players came up together. Tome and Manny Ramirez, Kenny Lofton came over in a trade, and Vizquel, and the list goes on and on. But to get them over the hump, they had to sign some veterans like an Eddie Murray or Earl Hershiser, Dennis Martinez, people like that, to get them over the hump, get them into the World Series.
Big swing and a miss by Rafael Devers, who had a base hit to right field his first time up. You talk about a baby-faced kid. And maybe he looks his age. Maybe it's us, not him. But because he's only 20. But boy, he is about as youthful looking a big leaguer. You could say the same about Benintendi, really. He's a couple of years older. Broken bat, ground ball hits the runner. And that will end the inning. Bogaerts is out because the ball hit him. Probably would have ended the inning anyways. It was heading straight out to Refsnyder. Bogaerts probably saying, I saw bat, I saw ball, I didn't know which way to go. And the inning is over on that play. And you can't blame Bogaerts. He's just trying to get out of the way of the bat. The ball hits him and the inning is over. For the Red Sox, Rick Porcello won the Cy Young Award in the American League last year. Had a very good season, obviously. Won 22 games, lost only 4. Got a ton of run support. But, guys, it's been a whole different story this year.
It sure has. And you know what? He pitched deep into the season last year, had a lot of innings, had a lot of success. But his run support was huge last year. Not getting the same run support. He's made 10 starts this season in which the club didn't score while he was on the mound. But his numbers are different. He's had a few too many pitches in the middle of the plate this year.
Right, and everything came together for him last year. But it's really nothing new. This has happened before in baseball history, where pitchers have it all come together for him one year, and then the next year, not so much. It reminds me a lot of the Lamar Hoyt year in 1983 and 1984. Lamar Hoyt won the Cy Young in 1983 when he was with the Chicago White Sox. He was 24-10. Incidentally, he had the highest earned run average for any Cy Young Award winner at 3.6.
Yeah, wins ruled back then.
Yes.
Didn't they?
He came back the next year, went 13-18. Led the major leagues in losses after leading the major leagues in wins. Something that Porcello is doing right now. He led the major leagues in wins last season with 22. He leads the major leagues in losses this year with 15.
Not getting much run support this year. 10 different starts. When he's left the game, the Red Sox had yet to score a run, and they haven't scored for him so far here tonight. 1-0 Blue Jays, bottom 4.
That is what brings into perspective just how great pitchers like Clayton Kershaw are, where they do it year in and year out, and you're always in the conversation for the Cy Young Award. You know, you never vary too far from what you do on a regular basis, and it's remarkable. Scherzer's in that group now.
Yeah, Scherzer, Kershaw, Chris Sale, who we saw yesterday. You know, the great pitchers, even though they don't get a lot of runs, they find a way to win. And Porcello hasn't had as many runs to work with this year as he has last year.
And Bautista strikes out for the second time tonight.
17 times this year he has given up 3 runs or less, 3 earned runs or less.
Got him with a high fastball. Porcello throwing a lot of four-seamers up above the belt tonight. He's got 6 strikeouts through 3 1/3, including Kendrys Morales, his first time up. Starts it with a change for a strike here. The only run of the ball game, a home run by Raffi Lopez to lead off the bottom of the 3rd. It's 1-0 Blue Jays. Another changeup.
He was on that one too. He was all over it. He can't believe he missed it.
The problem you have if you're Rick Porcello and you want to live up in that strike zone, you're going to give up home runs. He has now tied Ricky Nolasco of the Angels for the most home runs surrendered in the American League at 32. He also leads the American League in hits surrendered. He has given up 2 hits tonight. Now he's given up 201 hits for the season. That leads the American League as well. So there is a price to pay for pitching up in the zone. I mean, yeah, every once in a while you can elevate a pitch, but when you miss, boy, it's right about letter high and very hittable.
Totally different than the Rick Porcello we saw when he first came up with the Detroit Tigers. He was sinker, slider, ground ball machine when he was with the Tigers when he was younger.
You hear some people say, you know, launch angle, something a lot of people are talking about, that hitters have changed their swings, want to get the ball in the air more, that maybe as they adjust their swings that the sinker doesn't work that much with the way, or as well with the way hitters are swinging right now, so they're trying to elevate the fastball up above that swing. But as you say, you make a mistake up there, you get hurt.
Yeah, and you know what, I don't care if you have launch angle or not, you get a letter high fastball and you swing up at it, it's going to go out of the ballpark. And especially if it's 93, 94. Yes, there's some guys that can pitch up there at 98. Jay Happ can pitch up there at 93, 94 because he's got good spin rate and he's got a little extra hop on his fastball. But 9 times out of 10, give me a guy that can wear out the strike zone in the bottom of the strike zone, in and out, and I'll take him over these guys that want to pitch upstairs.
Yeah, keep it in the ballpark, ground balls, keep it on the edges. He got away with another one right there.
Marcus Stroman is a great example of a guy that commands the bottom of the strike zone, changes speeds, gets sink balls, keeps the club in the ball game every single time. When you flirt with that top of the strike zone, you're asking for trouble because you have to be so precise with your location. You work down in the zone and you're going to make hitters. It's a hard pitch to hit, that fastball down and away. You've got to go get it.
Well, how about this at bat for Morales? He's worked it full against Porcello with Kevin Pillar waiting in the on-deck circle.
I don't know that we acknowledge Morales in his battle with that fever for a while. I think that robbed him of a lot of strength, and it's taken him longer to get his feel back at the plate than he would acknowledge. He was down. He was down for a while, a couple homestands ago.
Just foul. Hanley Ramirez kind of awkwardly went over to try to make a play on that. Hanley doesn't play a lot of first base, mainly against lefties, and at one point he was a guy with tremendous speed and a shortstop when he came up.
Morales missed what, 4 or 5 games with that illness, and then he didn't didn't play in Chicago. He sat because no DH with the Cubs, so the timing was lost just momentarily, but it looks like it's back now.
10 pitches and counting now against Porcello.
Porcello's got the pitch, and that's Dustin Pedroia. He was out running around today, so he is probably going to be activated when they go to New York. And it's a case of his getting over that knee. He's only played 1 game in the month of August because of a knee problem.
And how about that? Hard for Morales to hit a ground ball through the right side because of the shift, but he finds a hole.
A very determined at bat by the veteran Morales. He found off good pitch after good pitch and gets one that he can pull through the right side, and he hits it so hard he hits it past Nunez, who was out in right field.
Morales, who had a couple of hits last night, has his first knock here tonight. Runner at first with a 1 out, 1-0 Blue Jays, and here's Pillar, called out on strikes his first time up. Devers creeping in at third. He's inside the bag right now, right on the edge of the infield turf, as Pillar takes a little bit low for ball 1.
Like you mentioned, Dustin Pedroia, they really think he's going to be okay for this weekend in New York. He came out today, he ran. They're going to back him off just a little bit tomorrow running wise. He took BP today on the field, and they think he is going to be ready for that Yankees series.
Speaking of Yankees, they had a tough day. Lost a doubleheader at home to the Indians, 2-1 in the opening game, 9-4 in the nightcap. So their lead in the wild card race shrinking. Remember, Baltimore has already won today. The Yankees at the moment now, I believe, 2 games. As that ball shot into left field, a base hit for Pillar. Hard hit ball. Morales will go to second. And Pilar continues to swing a pretty good bat.
You know, I talked to him today before the game, and I said, Kevin, what's going on in the month of August? He says, I'm not overthinking it right now. Times I'll go up there and I'll just start looking for certain pitches and then just start swinging. Right now I'm just reacting, trying not to think too much, overthinking the at-bat. You can see it's just a simple approach at the plate. If they throw it in there, go ahead and swing, and good things have happened to him.
So 2 men on for the Blue Jays with just 1 out for Ryan Goins. So the Yankees losing the doubleheader today and getting ready to entertain the Red Sox over the weekend. Some big games coming down the stretch. Goins walked his first time up, then was erased on a double play. Good block there by Vasquez.
Yeah, the Yankees will send CC Sabathia to the mound tomorrow against Eduardo Rodriguez, the 2 left-handers. It's a 4-game series, and then Fister and Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray, good outing his last time out, 3 hits over 7 innings. He's starting to get more comfortable in New York.
So the Yankees at the moment, sorry Tabby, just a game and a half ahead of Minnesota. Twins play tonight, and in Minnesota just a game ahead of the Orioles and the Angels, quietly hanging around.
And after that 4-game series, the Yankees and the Red Sox do not play again the rest of the season. It's crazy.
Strange. Like the Blue Jays and Rays are done already, right? They're done.
Yeah.
You spend almost in the entire month of September within your own division, but because there are 5 teams in every division, one team always has to play somebody else. And I guess the way it works is there's one team you don't wind up playing at all. You play home and home against just about everybody else. Goins lines one into right field, a base hit. Morales will be held, and the bases are loaded. Same situation as last night when Goins had a base hit with the same 2 runners on, but again Morales had to be held at third.
Hit it right to Mookie Betts in right, and Betts has a strong arm. He's got 6 outfield assists. But look at how Betts went after that ball. He was totally under control because he knew Morales was running from second. He broke it down, made sure he didn't bobble it, and then came up with a very deliberate throw right to the cutoff man. He knew exactly what was going to happen because he played it out in his mind before that ball was hit. If I get a ball hit to me, Morales is going to have to stop. So he didn't panic. He didn't rush the fielding play. Made a nice, easy play, and it keeps the bases loaded.
So a great opportunity for the Blue Jays to add to the 1-0 lead. Bases loaded, 1 out. And the batter was Darwin Barney, who hit into a double play in the 2nd inning.
It was a very good double play started by the pitcher, Doug Fister. Comebacker, he made a nice play.
Blue Jays were playing hit and run on that, and it came right back to Porcello, and Porcello made a great turn to second base. Playing hit and run. They're not playing hit and run here. They're going to let Darwin Barney swing away.
Line back to the mound, and Porcello looking all around the infield. Nobody to throw to as the runners get back, but Barney robbed on a great play by Porcello.
Second time Barney has hit one right back to the pitcher, and Porcello just reacted, came up with it, and then watch how quickly he looks around to see if he's got a play to double up somebody. Looking at all 3 bases, and there was nowhere to throw it. Morales does a nice job at third base, freezing on the line drive. He gets back. Pilar goes back to second, and when Porcello looked at first, it was much too late.
His first reaction, if it was to first base, he had it over at first base.
So 2 down now for Raffi Lopez, who homered an inning ago.
Boy, that is unfortunate. Barney's been robbed twice now by the pitcher.
Be very surprised if Raffi Lopez gets a curveball in this at bat.
That's what he hit out an inning ago for his 2nd major league home run. Fastball, and he's in the hole 0-2.
This is like that first at bat. 2 quick strikes with the fastball, and then get a breaking ball out of here.
upstairs.
Vasquez trying to decoy with the low target, all the while knowing full well that he was going to get a high fastball from Porcello, but he held that target down first. Mentioned this is just the second game that Christian Vasquez has caught Porcello all season long.
And a swing and a miss to get him. And the Blue Jays will leave the bases loaded. Porcello uses his glove and his arm to get out of trouble this inning. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here are Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn from the Samsung broadcast studio.
MLB.TV Premium is back and better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Plus, get a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Dan.
Thank you, Hazel. Roof open. Nice crowd. Fifth inning we go at Rogers Center. The Blue Jays and the Red Sox. Boy, the Blue Jays just had a great chance to add to their 1-0 lead. Rick Porcello robbing Darwin Barty and then striking out Raffi Lopez, so the Jays leave them loaded. And Hanley Ramirez will lead it off in the fifth against Blue Jays starter Jay Happ. Ramirez grounding into a double play back in the second inning. He'll be followed by Chris Young and Christina Vasquez, the bottom third of the lineup for the Red Sox.
Ramirez batting in the 7th spot in the Red Sox lineup for the 3rd straight game. They dropped him out of the cleanup spot. He came into this game tonight hitting .218 in the month of August. They need his bat more than anybody in this lineup. He's got to come up and hit some home runs. He had 10 home runs last September. They need that kind of presence in the lineup from Hanley Ramirez.
Especially against the lefties. He was one of the names that John Farrell was talking about earlier today about stepping up against left-handed pitching. He and Chris Young just haven't put the numbers together this year like they have in the past, so they're counting on him in the month of September.
Well, especially when you don't have Dustin Pedroia for a full month. Pedroia is out of the lineup. We mentioned he's played only 1 game in the month of August, and you've got to pick up the slack.
2-2. And on his hands, and he fouls it back.
Maybe last night was a sign that better things are in the future for Ramirez. He took a home run deep to center field, a high fastball. He was able to get on top of it and knock it out of here.
He had a double and a single in the opener on Monday night, but that double was lost in the lights on a line drive. Steve Pearce lost it in the bank of lights, and Ramirez was credited with a double. So that could have been a line drive out to the left fielder, and should have been.
You know, interesting how over the years the Red Sox identity more often than not has been offense, and their offense is still pretty good this year, but it's so much less power than they've had in the past. Their identity right now, I think, is more pitching, speed, and athleticism. It's a different kind of a Red Sox team. This ball is hit high and deep to left field, and you can forget about it. deep into the second deck. Number 21 for Ramirez to tie the game.
He came into this game hitting .207 with just 5 home runs against left-handed pitching this year. In the past, he has just blistered left-handed pitching, but not so this year. So it's like last night when he hit a home run. Tonight, maybe he's starting to get it together.
Remember, we mentioned last night that last year John Farrell did the same thing with Ramirez and dropped him down into the order for 2 games in June, and that really sparked a strong second half. This just a fastball inner half and down, and you could see that big uppercut swing. And Ramirez connects for his 21st home run of the season.
This is the first home run given up by Happ in 7 starts. The last guy to get him was Michael Brantley for Cleveland back on July the 23rd. And as is often the case, when Hanley gets a hold of one, there's very little doubt about it.
30 of them last year with 111 RBIs. I think he hit number 30 against the Blue Jays last September.
So we're tied at 1 now in the 5th inning. The Red Sox trying to sweep. The Blue Jays trying to salvage the final game of the series. Red Sox off to New York after this, and the Blue Jays heading to Baltimore. Happ out in front of Young. No balls, 2 strikes. Young with a base on balls his first time up. One of Happ's real go-to pitches, trying to jam a right-handed batter there with a fastball in on his hands, but Young wouldn't chase on 0-2.
He can cut that ball in there too if he wants to. That time he tried to backdoor it. And he can get in on those righties with that cut fastball up and in. I think you have to stay up with the fastball if you're going to go in.
Bouncer to third, fair ball. Barney up with it, and on to first for the out.
Canada's favorite car cheers for Canada's favorite team, Honda. Proud fan since 1977 and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Rogers Center in Toronto. The Blue Jays and Red Sox in a 1-1 tie in the 5th inning. And here's Christina Vasquez, the catcher for Boston. We mentioned 4 for 4 on Monday night in the opening game of the series. 0 for 1 tonight, but still hitting well over 400 in the last couple of weeks. He's 25 for his last 58.
When Vasquez had that 4 for 4 game on Monday, it was the 3rd time a catcher has gone 4 for 4 or better in a game this season. Vasquez did it back on April 2nd himself, or April 11th. Caleb Joseph of the Orioles did it on May 8th. And today, Wellington Castillo did it for the Orioles, a 4 for 4 game for Baltimore. So you don't see catchers going 4 for 4 very often, but Vasquez has done it twice this year.
The last time a Red Sox catcher did it, or have multiple 4 for 4 games in a single season, you got to go all the way back to 1985. And the left-handed hitting Rich Gedman did it for the Red Sox.
Good hitter, pretty good player.
Very good player.
Yep.
Good baseball man.
2 down in the inning after the Vasquez ground up. Back to the top of the order for Rajay Davis. Blue Jays have kept him off the base path so far tonight with a ground out and a strikeout.
The Red Sox have 85 stolen bases this season. It's almost ridiculous they'd have that many stolen bases given their past history. That's the 6th most stolen bases in the majors, and Rajay Davis, he had a pair of them last night, so you got to keep him off the base.
Even Vasquez, the catcher, has stolen 7 on the season. 3-0.
The Red Sox have 7 steals in this series. They got 2 in the opener on Monday. They stole 5 bases last night. John Farrell, he doesn't have David Ortiz anymore in his lineup, and so he's got to find different ways to score.
Mookie Betts has 8 steals against the Blue Jays this year. He's got 20 on the season. 8 of them are against the Blue Jays.
Red Sox have stolen 20 bases against the Jays this year.
This is what, the 13th game between the two?
Multiple talents. That's what they have. They've got guys that can hit the ball out of the ballpark, guys that can hit for average. They can play defense. They can steal bases. I mean, it's a complete team.
Great starting pitching. A very underrated bullpen. And they prevent runs with good defense.
If you had to pick Red Sox, say Red Sox, Indians, or Astros, who's the best team right now in your opinion? Who's the best team in the American League?
Wow. I think the Indians and the Red Sox are the closest right now because they don't have Carlos Correa in their lineup in Houston. The Houston pitching staff is struggling a bit. Fires last night, Keuchel today, and if I were have to pick right now, it'd be difficult to pick between those two teams, the Indians and the Red Sox.
Indians are hot right now. They're hitting everything. They hit more home runs than the Red Sox, so that might be the difference.
Plus, too, they have that great pitching staff when they're all healthy and throwing well. And Kluber, he matches up with Sale, so that's a good matchup.
Well, Jay Happ thought he had rung up Rajai Davis to end the inning. Raffi Lopez tried to bring it up to the bottom of the strike zone. They don't get the call from home plate umpire Sean Barber.
Raffi Lopez does something that's pretty interesting. After he gives his target, he kind of drops his glove down, but he has the ability to catch that low pitch with the glove moving up. And he can get some low strikes called from time to time, but that time he didn't. When he gives a sign, he gives the target, and then he drops his glove hand down and then goes up to catch the ball as it comes into the strike zone.
So the inning will continue as Davis draws a throw. Eduardo Nunez will be the hitter, and everybody who's followed the Blue Jays for a few years knows how aggressive Rajai Davis is. Wouldn't be a surprise to see him get going here pretty quickly to try to get into scoring position. And another throw over.
What a huge lead, and he's getting back easy. Jay doesn't have what's classified as a above average move over to first base, especially for a left-hander. It's very average. So he's going to have to vary his times towards home. He's going to have to quick pitch when he has to, and maybe slide step to give Lopez a chance to get Davis in case he goes.
Rajai Davis has 393 career stolen bases, but he's only led the league once, and that was last year with 43 steals in Cleveland. His career high in steals, he had 50 steals in 2010 with the A's, but he's only led the league once. But he's fearless. He is not afraid to get caught trying to steal a base. And now he's going to do some work on his spikes, get the mud out of that.
He's still going strong at 36. He was talking the other day how, you know, he's a better ball player now at 36 than he was at 26, mainly because of the experience that he has playing the game, understanding what pitchers are trying to do to him, how to take care of his body, you know, when he needs to run. He just has all that experience, and now he can use that for the Red Sox.
Not going, and a ground ball to the left side. Big bounce for Barney, and that's the inning. The Hanley Ramirez homer has tied it 1-1 going to the bottom of the fifth. Well, it wasn't that long ago when the Blue Jays looked like they were making a bit of a run. They had gotten as close to 3 games out of the second wild card spot. But Buck, the last 11 games seem to have changed the focus and the realistic expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. They went into Chicago after winning 3 of 4 against the Rays here, and then they went into Chicago and got swept by the Cubs. Went down to Tampa Bay, lost 2 of 3, and then they lost 2 of 3 to Minnesota, and they've lost the first 2 here. So they haven't been able to stem the tide of those good teams that are really in the pennant race.
Some of those were devastating losses, also, like the one to Chicago on getaway day against the Cubs.
They scored 2 runs in the 10th and gave up 3 in the bottom of the 10th.
Tough to come back on those type of games.
Yeah, just before this stretch, there was one day they were 3 out of the second wild card spot and tied with Tampa Bay and Baltimore. There was one day it was a 3-way tie for 3rd, and the Blue Jays were 3 back of the second wild card spot. That's less than 2 weeks ago. And things have changed significantly in the standings since then as Ref Snyder grounds out. As for example, right now Baltimore's 6.5 ahead of the Blue Jays. Orioles are on fire. And
you don't have to look any further than the starting pitching rotation during the stretch and how many different pitchers they had to use in that stretch. And I don't care who you are, what kind of team you have. If you don't have good starting pitching, you're not going to compete. You just can't compete on an everyday basis, because if you don't have starters pitching into the 6th and 7th inning on a regular basis, you're going to wear out your bullpen, no matter how good they are.
And that's exactly what has happened. That they've had too many 4-inning starts, 5 innings, even 6 innings. And then sometimes to finish off the game, 3 innings, it might take 4 pitchers down in that bullpen.
If you look at all 30 teams in order 1 to 30, the number of innings thrown by their starting pitchers this year, the Blue Jays are 26th out of 30 teams. Only 4 teams have fewer innings from their starters. Their bullpen has just been used so much this year as Carrera flies out to left.
And the opposite was the case last year. And they led the league in innings pitched. They led baseball in innings pitched with their starters. And, you know, last year was an exceptional year. They were healthy. They were competitive. They only needed 7 starters. And, yeah, it's going to be more like 10, 11 starters will be the norm for a major league average team. Generally, the last couple of years, teams have averaged about 12 starters during the course of a season. And last year was an exceptional year for the Blue Jays to have that good of pitching and to stay that healthy.
Basically, well, they used 7, right? But basically they used 6 all season long.
Hutchison made 2 starts.
That's right. Just to give guys an extra day, because they had played 16, 17, 18 games in a row.
Pierce flies out to right. That's a very quick inning. 3 up, 3 down. Only 8 pitches needed for Rick Porcello to get the Blue Jays in the 5th. Check out WestJet's low fares from Canada to London Gatwick at WestJet.com or call your travel agent. Time now for the schedule ahead, brought to you by WestJet. Tonight ends the homestand. The Blue Jays heading on the road to get a look, guys, at maybe the hottest team in baseball starting tomorrow night.
Orioles are doing everything right now. They are swinging the bats well. Wellington Castillo 4-for-4 with a home run today. Trey Mancini at his 23rd. Jonathan Scope hit his 30th. Dylan Bundy had a one-hit shutout, his first career shutout last night. Yeah, they're doing a lot of good things right now.
They've hit 55 home runs in the month of August, the Baltimore Orioles. 7 straight. They've got 7 more games to go on their homestand. So they're making their move.
You know, it's kind of a strange year. I guess it always is to a certain extent in baseball, but you go back to the beginning of the year and a lot of people would have said, okay, the Blue Jays could be a playoff team, or the Texas Rangers could be a playoff team, or maybe the Tigers have one more year before the window closes. But instead it's teams like the Minnesota Twins, the Angels. I mean, the Orioles were a playoff team last year, but nobody seemed to, they weren't really being looked at. Not a lot of people picked them to have a great season. There are some somewhat unlikely candidates vying for playoff spots in the American League.
Good for baseball or bad for baseball? I think it's good for baseball when there's different teams every year.
Sure. You know, you look at in the National League, Arizona lost 93 games last year. They had a dismal season. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong, and they look like they're on their way to the playoffs. Colorado may be on their way to the postseason as well.
Milwaukee. Good for Milwaukee. They've had a great year.
2-2 to Benintendi. Down and away. And the new playoff system has really changed things. So.
It has, and I think it's kept everybody interested. It's kept a lot of teams involved, and I think it's done exactly what Bud Selig hoped it would do, to keep a lot of teams engaged in the month of September. Happ again thinks he threw a low strike, didn't get the call.
3 of the 4 walks he surrendered tonight have been pitches that, without question, could have gone either way.
He walked Rajai Davis on a similar pitch, and it was just a situation where it was right down the bottom of the strike zone, and you can see that pitch. Happ is walking off the plate, but again, Raffi Lopez couldn't sell it to the home plate umpire.
So the leadoff man aboard for the Red Sox in the 6th for Mookie Betts. Betts tonight, a ground out and a fly ball.
18 home runs this year for Mookie, 14 of them to left field. So you know what he's trying to do. Get the head out and try and pull it.
Chase is down and away, and it's 0-2.
Mentioned earlier the Mookie Betts seasons against the Blue Jays. He had 384 in 2015. The Blue Jays switched up on him. He had just 188 last year, but he's jumped it back up. Came into this game hitting over 370 against the Blue Jays for the season. He's a very good student. If he has a weakness, he'll check with the coaching staff. He's got great instructors up and down that coaching staff, and if it's about bunting, he'll ask about that. If it's about hitting, he'll go to Chili Davis and Victor Rodriguez. But there's a lot of teaching going on each and every day, even with veterans like Chris Young and Rajai Davis. Chili Davis is doing all the teaching.
Ground ball to short. There's one. Not in time. Betts runs too well for the Blue Jays to turn 2.
You know, I think if the throw was a little bit more to the glove side of Pierce, where he could have stretched with his glove side, maybe they had a shot at turning it. But because Pierce had to go to his right and actually backhand that ball, it just took a little bit longer to get there. See how he had to come off the bag towards the outfield? If he is towards the infield on his glove side, maybe.
So a fielder's choice. With activity now with the Blue Jays bullpen, right-hander Tom Kohler is beginning to throw. Started one game for the Blue Jays, but right away they said they want to get a look at him in the bullpen, see if the stuff plays up, if he can be a pretty good strikeout guy out of the pen.
Yeah, and that's why he's up now in this 1-1 game. We're in the 6th inning, and he's the type of guy they hope might be able to, guy that can pitch in the 7th, 8th inning, come in and strike out a batter or two. He's got a great curveball. and that always plays into a pitcher's strikeout abilities, and he is down there now. They want to see, and I think this is a good time to introduce him to this role.
Pete Walker called him bridge guy yesterday, meaning a bridge to the back end of the bullpen, finishing an inning and then give me another one.
There aren't as many of those guys as there used to be. There was so many of them, they didn't have the bridge guy name didn't exist. That was just a guy.
Yeah.
You know, finish an inning, pitch another, pitch another. Those guys don't exist anymore. 2-1 the count on Xander Bogaerts, who's flied out and walked. Ground ball to third. They'll get another opportunity to turn it and can't do it here as Refsnyder's throw pulls Pierce off the bag.
Yeah, that was a little slow developing. Barney at third base, very deliberate making the throw to second, and then Refsnyder's throw pulls Pierce off the bag at first. This is a routine double play ball. This ball should be turned here. Now watch how Barney gets it and takes a little time, makes a deliberate throw. It's right on the money to Refsnyder, but his throw is offline at first, and that allows Bogaerts to beat it on.
You know, Buck, I think if he comes across the bag at second base where he cuts that throw down, it's a little shorter throw from the third baseman, then he can plant and get something a little bit more accurately on that throw, but he elected to go back behind the bag, slowed things down just a little.
So the inning continues, runner on the move, and he'll steal second. Bogaerts in rather easily with his 12th stolen base of the season.
The 8th stolen base for the Red Sox in this 3-game series. And he didn't hesitate for Bogaerts. He went on the first move. His 12th stolen base of the season for the Red Sox. It's the 86th stolen base. And you can see it was never on line from Lopez, and Bogaerts is in there easily.
Runner in scoring position, 2 down, 0-1 the count on Devers. Probably last batter one way or another for Happ. Lefty on lefty here with Kohler warming in the pen and Hanley Ramirez on deck.
Devers has impressed me in this series with his ability to hit breaking balls. And he's hit breaking balls off of left-handed pitchers. He did it against Brian Anderson last night, and he pulled one through the right side of the infield in his first at bat in the second. I like that pitch to him. He likes the ball out over the plate, and that's why he's able to hit the breaking ball. So if you throw him that sinker down and in, it's a hard pitch for him to get to because he's taking care of the outer part of the plate, and he can't drop the head on that inside sinker.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Happ trying to end the inning right here. Ground ball to Pierce. Happ over to cover. Inning over. The Red Sox will strand a runner. Happ's night may be done. Going to the bottom of the 6th, tied at 1.
It's FIFA World Cup qualifiers. Sweden looks to stay atop their group in World Cup qualifying as they take on Bulgaria. Catch all the action Thursday on Sportsnet 1. And two European giants go head-to-head in World Cup qualifying. The Netherlands in desperate need of a win as they take on France. It's Thursday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time on Sportsnet World.
See all these kids in the ballpark tonight. School is starting next week, so the young fans getting a chance to stay up late on a weeknight, maybe for the last time this season. Here's Jose Bautista to lead off the 6th. He has struck out twice against Rick Porcello tonight. Red Sox and Blue Jays all tied up at 1. A little slider in for a strike, and it's 1-1. Each team with a solo home run in this game. Raffi Lopez for the Blue Jays in the 3rd. Hanley Ramirez for the Red Sox in the 5th. After Bautista, Kendrys Morales, and then Kevin Pillar. Porcello's already struck out 7 tonight. A little squibber back to the mound. And Bautista's 0 for 3.
This 4K broadcast is brought to you by Samsung QLED TV. Experience Canada's team in all the colors of the game with the next innovation in TV.
The roof open at Rogers Center. It opened at about the 3rd inning. And a nice night at the ballpark. Kendrys Morales is up and the shift on, of course.
And he beat the shift the last time with a hard ground ball, an 11 pitch at bat. Nunez, the second baseman, has now shifted about 3 feet to his right where he was last time. He was just looking in at Brian Butterfield. They asked him, is this where you want me?
Porcello has a pitch on his mind. Vasquez said, excuse me, it's my bad. I'll get it for you. And again, I mentioned before that this is only the 2nd time Porcello has thrown to Vasquez. So he wanted to change it.
Morales looks frustrated. He's got like a, are you ever going to throw me a fastball look on his face. But he's been getting a steady diet of changeups and curveballs for the last couple of months.
Would you throw him a fastball in a 1-1 game? I don't think I would.
And Chris Sale threw him one last night. Morales hit it hard for a double to left center. And a curveball hit down the left field line. Davis coming over, but it's foul.
Morales can hit that curveball, and that's why he's upset at himself there, because it was off. He can hit it out of the ballpark anywhere in the ballpark if it's up. The ball that gives him trouble is that strike to ball breaking ball that's down and breaks into the dirt.
Wouldn't chase that high fastball. Let's see if he goes back to something off speed now. 2-2. Almost hit him.
He almost walked right into that one, anticipating a ball away from him. He had a long at bat last time against Porcello.
11 pitches before singling. Change up, hit the ball to the same spot, but he won't come up with a hit this time. A terrific play made by Devers, moving over to the other side of the bag, playing in the shift, and he's got a smile like, man, I've never made that play before.
Well, and look at the smiles on the bench. Justin Pedroia is a regular second baseman. He said, this kid is amazing. He's amazing because he caught the ball, and again, he recognized who was running. Watch how he reacts to this. He's playing it straight away second. He's got to go to his left. He catches it and then just takes his time and throws a strike, knowing he's got plenty of time with Morales running. This is not a normal 20-year-old you're watching. This guy's got a terrific inner clock. And as we were told on Monday, the first game, Devers is a baseball player, and that reflects his instincts right there.
What was the first thing that Brian Butterfield told you and me and Dan about this kid?
He's got good feet.
Good feet and soft hands. That's a third baseman.
And remember, Pablo Sandoval was their third baseman at the beginning of the season. He's now back with the Giants after a very disappointing tenure in Boston. And they've turned it over to the kid with a really good result so far.
They have used 10 different third basemen this year. And I don't think they're going to use many more.
No.
Only if he needs maybe an inning or two off.
And what was everybody screaming about for the Red Sox at the trade deadline?
Got to make a trade.
Got to get a third baseman.
Pilar with a fly ball to center field. And that's the inning. The Blue Jays go in order. 8 in a row now set down by Porcello. Got a little help from Devers at third.
Acura Luxury Suites are perfect for entertaining clients, corporate functions, or outings with family and friends. You can entertain from 16 to 300 guests. Our account executives will be happy to find a package that best suits your needs. Call 416-341-1635 or visit bluejays.com/luxury suites.
To the 7th inning in Rogers Center, and out of the bullpen for the Blue Jays comes right-hander Tom Koehler.
Second time that we have seen Koehler out of the bullpen now. He made a start for the Blue Jays. And then a relief appearance the other night. Right here, a successful one. An inning with a strikeout and a hit. Forget out those numbers right there. He's got a good arm, and he's got a good breaking ball. And I asked him about the breaking ball the other day. I said, do you call it a spike curve or a knuckle curve? And he says it's not really a knuckle curve. It's more of a spike curve where I put my top finger, my index finger on top of that baseball. He said it was taught to him by his college coach. Says he got to college at Stony Brook, and they took one look at his curveball, and the coach said, we got to change that. So he taught him the spike curve or the knuckle curve.
Koehler made a start in his Blue Jay debut as Hanley Ramirez, who's homer tonight for the Red Sox, their only run. He leads off the inning. Koehler made a start for the Blue Jays against Tampa Bay 6 days ago, last Thursday. Went to 5 innings, gave up a run, walked 3, struck out 7, and then pitched a scoreless inning on a Monday night in the first game of this series.
This is just the 16th relief appearance for Tom Koehler in his career. He's made 133 starts. But now he's trying to make a transition and prove that he can be a valuable part of this Blue Jays bullpen.
There's the curveball.
Yeah, that's his bread and butter pitch, and that's the pitch he can get strikeouts on. And it's good grip, and you can see how he just takes that finger and gets it off the ball and uses that middle finger to grab the big seam of the baseball and get that overhand spin.
Look at that spin right on top of the ball. He could really spin it, and he looks like he could be an effective reliever with that pitch in his fastball. He's thrown 6 innings with the Blue Jays. It's at 8 strikeouts.
Remember before the advent of slow motion replay how people that didn't play the game say a curveball's an optical illusion? I think you could ask Hanley Ramirez and he would say no, it's not an optical illusion. It breaks.
Koehler out in front of ball and 2 strikes on Ramirez. fair ball. And scooped up by a fan down the line, and that might be the end of his night here at the ballpark.
Not a good idea, because Hanley Ramirez was running, and Ezequiel Carrera can play that ball off the wall as well as anybody on the Blue Jays. So there was no guarantee that he was going to make a double out of this.
First of all, let's see if it's fair. The ball bounces in front of the base, goes right over the corner of the base, and there's not a better angle in baseball than that angle right there from that camera down the third base line.
So it goes as a double for Ramirez. The go-ahead run is aboard at second. And as Hanley is telling Brian Butterfield, nobody out. And a pinch hitter is up. Mitch Moreland is going to bat for Chris Young. Moreland, the primary first baseman, certainly against right-handed pitching for the Red Sox. Got off to a great start. Has had his hot spots and his cold spots this year. Overall, 254, 17 home runs.
Two for 6 as a pinch hitter with 3 RBIs. And it's a tough job for a regular like Moreland, who is a regular. He plays all the time, and only lately has Hanley Ramirez been playing against left-handers at first base. So coming off the bench is not an easy thing to do when you're a regular player like Moreland.
He's tough. He's a tough kid. Right now they're trying to keep the ball away from him.
How about that 2-0 curveball?
Yeah, when you have that kind of weapon, there's no reason to save it. Go ahead and use it. He's got a curveball. He's got a nice slider he threw to Ramirez earlier in his at-bat. But now you put that hook in Moreland's mind, and he's a little bit in between as to what to look for.
And if you throw him a fastball away, he might just hit it the other way.
Well, he pulled it, and he hit it a mile. A 2-run rocket into the second deck. Home run for Moreland, and the Red Sox lead 3-1.
Boy, he was trying to come inside, and Moreland was looking inside. For Moreland, that's his 18th home run of the season, and he now has driven in 61. So the Red Sox get their second home run of the ball game, and this time he drives in Ramirez, who has the other home run.
Good call to put him up there. Thought they might stay away from him because he's trying to pull the ball after the leadoff double. Ball up and out over the plate. And for a team that doesn't hit a lot of home runs, that's the only way they have scored tonight. A couple of long home runs.
Third career pinch hit home run for Mitch Moreland, and this one gives the Red Sox the lead.
Yeah, they were actually trying to get the ball in and left it out over the plate. He just hooked it because he was thinking about pulling something on the right side. And he hooked it in the air and hit it into the second deck.
Batter now Christina Vasquez, the catcher, 0 for 2. So 3 runs, 6 hits for the Red Sox, 1 run on 5 hits for the Blue Jays. The Red Sox winning 6-5 on a Monday night, and then behind Chris Sale 3-0 last night. There comes Barney. And Pierce with a nice play to save that one for the first out.
Blue Jays tonight starting Barney at third and Pierce at first as Donaldson gets the night off. Smoke's got a little bit of a calf injury, so he's out of the lineup, and Pierce has to leave the bag and put the tag on Vasquez. Pierce made the first start of the season at first base. He was the opening day first baseman. That's the only other time he started at first all season long.
Top of the order, Rajai Davis. Remember, the next trade deadline just a couple of days away, August the 30th, or tomorrow night actually, August the 31st. If you want to have somebody on your roster like the Red Sox did with Rajai Davis, you got to get him there by August 31st. Got to make the trade in order to have him eligible for the postseason. And swing and a miss to get Davis for the second out, and probably will be some deals in the next, say, 27 hours. You think the Anybody is susceptible on the Blue Jay roster to being dealt tomorrow?
I think there's always a possibility. Teams look at ball clubs, and Randy Wynn is here with the Giants. Of course, they're not in it, but there are scouts everywhere trying to figure out who might help their ball club. Mike Leake was traded from St. Louis to Seattle, and some of the Cardinal players were a little bit upset by that, thinking that, you know, we're giving away a guy when we're in the hunt.
We're trying to win. What do you guys think about Justin Verlander? He threw today and threw well. Could it be his last start for the Tigers?
I mean, he's got full no trade protection, so they can only deal him to somewhere he wants to go.
And he's got a lot of money.
A lot of money. Yeah.
He's got a lot of money.
Tigers would have to pay some of that.
How about this? After the Yankees lose 2 today, you think they might be in a little bit more of a mood to spend some money and say, you know what, we can have him for the next few years, and he's our type of player. He's a star. He's a big power pitcher. And, you know, they don't have a veteran like that. I mean, CeCe's on the backside of his career. But I still think, Jeff Samardzija is a guy that's going to get moved. I think he's throwing the ball really well. The Giants, they're going to be in a rebuilding mode now for a while. And Samardzija is a guy, I think he would fit well in Houston. I think Verlander would fit well in Houston, but he doesn't want to go to Houston.
He doesn't want to go there. Yeah.
Houston, by the way, losing again tonight. They're playing Texas down at the Trop again. They got blown out 12-2 last night, and Texas with a 6-1 lead tonight. They'll play again tomorrow. Then Houston is going home. They're not going to play Friday. The Mets are coming to town. They're going to play a doubleheader on Saturday. Obviously, people have had a look at the ballpark, and apparently it's in good enough shape that they're going to resume playing baseball in Houston on the weekend, as the city continues to deal with the terrible after effects of Hurricane Harvey. Nunez will ground out. That'll end the inning. Well, the Red Sox have the lead as Kohler surrenders a home run to Moreland. 3-1 Boston. Copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership, and it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Raffi Lopez with his second big league home run. That's the only run of the ninth for the Blue Jays. Mitch Moreland's 2-run shot in the top half of the seventh has given Boston a 3-1 lead, as Ryan Goins leads it off here in the bottom half of the Jays. Goins a walk and a base hit tonight. Now a 9-game hitting streak for Ryan. Pulls one to the right side for out number 1.
Something to think about as we get a little bit later into this ball game today. John Farrell might push Porcello just a little bit further tonight. No Craig Kimbrell, no Addison Reed available tonight in that bullpen. So Carl Willis, the pitching coach, on the right, John Farrell, the manager, on the left, going over their scorecard there, trying to figure out what they want to do the last 3 innings of this ball game.
Pretty good when your manager is a former pitching coach and he can exchange information with the pitching coach. And John Farrell gives his pitching coaches full reign as far as the pitching staff, but you can bet they have some in-depth conversations about how they're going to close out a game when they don't have their 8th inning guy or their closer. So right now there's no reason to even think about anybody other than Porcello. He's throwing the ball well.
98 pitches right now.
Maybe you push them just a little bit further, depending on where they are in the lineup.
Well, he's gotten a couple of quick outs here in the 7th. That helps the Red Sox cause. Drive of the game brought to you by the powerful all-new 2017 Civic Type R.
Raffi Lopez tonight is going to be our drive of the game. Takes this curveball. It's like he was sitting on it that whole at bat. Knocks it out of the ballpark. The Jays' only run tonight. Raffi's 2nd home run of the season. Tonight's drive of the game. After that home run, after he hit that home run off the curveball, he saw nothing but fastballs his next time up.
And struck out on one of those fastballs. 2 down and the bases empty here. Activity now in the Red Sox pen. Left-hander Robbie Scott is up. Could be for Carrera, a couple of spots away. Blue Jays bench is the backup catcher tonight, Miguel Montero, Justin Smoke, who's got a bit of a calf issue, and Josh Donaldson, who's just getting a night off. So Donaldson presumably available. And there's ball 4. Porcello did not even go with a fastball with a 2-run lead on a 3-0 pitch, and he walks him.
And Raffi Lopez has 2 career major league home runs. He could hit one into the 6th deck here at Rogers Center, and it will only be 1 run. I don't get that.
It's like he let up just trying to get the ball over, and it just messed up his mechanics.
So the inning will continue for Rob Refsnyder, 0 for 2 and a couple of groundouts.
It's really interesting that Porcello's streak of 10 straight retired comes with 2 outs on a walk. And it looked like he didn't really want to pitch to Raffi Lopez.
Instead, he brings the tying run to the plate here in the form of Refsnyder. Refsnyder with previous big league experience with the Yankees over the last couple of years. Made his major league debut in 2015 at 43 at-bats with the Yankees then. 152 at-bats with them last year and 37 at-bats with the Yankees at the major league level this year. Also spent some time down in the minors, and he has played a number of different positions. Mostly second base, also some first base and some corner outfield as well. Not a bad pitch there, but it missed just inside. 2-2. Runner at first, Lopez. 2 down, bottom of the 7th. And a base hit into right field. Lopez will stop at second. 2 men on.
You know what's interesting about that 2-run lead? They were holding the runner on. That run really didn't mean anything. So Hanley Ramirez, the first baseman, had no shot at catching this. Lopez isn't going to be stealing. It's a pitch up and away. And just, you can see him holding him on for some reason. And Refsnyder's going to take advantage of it. If he's playing back behind the runner, he catches that ball easily. Keeps the inning alive.
Well, and too, it was really surprising that they walked the other guy. Now John Farrell. It's going to be interesting. I bet you he goes with Joe Kelly instead of the left-hander, because Joe Kelly will come in. He's got a good fastball. He's got a strikeout capability. Well, he's going to go with the left-hander. That might bring Josh Donaldson off the bench. That's kind of curious how he made that call. So he is going to go with the left-hander to go up against Carrera. I thought he might go with Joe Kelly and just bring Kelly in to face Carrera instead of the possibility of having to deal with Josh Donaldson. Josh Donaldson hasn't come out yet, but I guess Carrera's going to hit.
Looks like it. Scott on his way in. Carrera still in the on deck circle waiting for his chance. The Blue Jays have a couple of men on with 2 down in the bottom of the 7th, looking to get right back into this one. So the Blue Jays have knocked Rick Porcello out of the game. John Farrell turns it over to left-hander Robbie Scott.
48 games this season for Scott. 1-1 with a .348 earned run average. He has had an interesting path to the big leagues. He pitched some independent ball. He gets by with a lot of sinker slider type of action on his pitches. A little bit of a curveball, a little bit of a changeup. Pitched in the independent leagues, and his manager was none other than Jose Canseco.
I'm sure he's got some stories. 2 on, 2 out.
Robbie Scott has held left-handers to a 2 for 21 since the 4th of July.
And here's a left-hand hitting Ezequiel Carrera. Sweeping breaking ball called a strike. Carrera thought it might have been outside.
Not going to throw hard. He's got that type of 3/4 arm angle, making it tough on left-handers, and uses that breaking ball. He can sink it. A little bit of a change-up that he throws to right-handers.
This is way outside with a fastball, a ball and a strike.
One of those stories about Canseco, he was pitching in independent leagues, and Canseco came out to the mound during one of his outings, and he goes, "What are you doing here? I'm pitching really well." He goes, "The Red Sox want to sign you. I got to take you out of the game." So he said, "Oh, okay, I can do that."
I look back at Lopez at second and the 1-1. Carrera tonight 0 for 3, a couple of strikeouts and a fly ball. Hits are even at 6 apiece, but the Red Sox have the lead 3-1. All the runs in the game coming on home runs. Ramirez with a solo shot, Moreland with a 2-run blast for Boston, and Lopez with a solo home run for the Blue Jays. Driven to right center field, but it's going to hang up for Benintendi to run it down in the alley, and that'll end the inning. The Blue Jays leave a couple of men on, down 3-1 at the end of 7.
Sox on top 3-1 here in the 8th inning. Darwin Barney's a versatile defender. We all know he can play multiple positions. Tonight, he's playing third base for the 36th time. And Buck has mentioned many times that it's rare for someone to use the same glove when playing different positions. Barney told me he does it because in his mind, the transfer is the most important part of his game. And when you go from one glove to a bigger or smaller glove, the ball is in a slightly different position. It feels a little off to him. He says the more comfortable you feel on defense, the better you'll play. Barney's also played shortstop 10 times, and of course, he's a Gold Glove second baseman. He's played there 56 times this season for the Blue Jays. Dan.
Has made some really nice plays defensively, and with some of the situations, a lot of the injuries they've had on the infield, his versatility has definitely been an asset for the Blue Jays this year. We go to the 8th inning, 3-1. The Red Sox lead the Blue Jays, and out of the Blue Jays bullpen comes rookie left-hander Tim Mayza.
Mayza has impressed the Blue Jays in his 7 games. He has had a strikeout, at least one strikeout in all 7 of those games this season. Righties, though, have hit him up for a .389 average. 13 strikeouts and just 1 base on ball. His fastball slider combination has been good, and I like that they're pitching him here in this inning against these batters, because I think you got to see what you got in Tim Mayza. He's got a live arm. He's got the 3 best, I think, that the Boston Red Sox have to offer.
Beginning with Andrew Benintendi. Benintendi 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. He'll be followed by Mookie Betts and then Xander Bogaerts. And we've talked a lot about starting pitching and kind of auditions at the back end of the rotation. Kohler getting a look from the right side of the bullpen, but we haven't talked a whole lot about the left side of the bullpen. Aaron Loup, of course, has been the guy who's been around for a number of years with the Blue Jays, but for Mayza, Dermody, and some other guys, I mean, there's always an opportunity. If you're a lefty who can get lefties out, you got a chance to pitch in the big leagues.
Look at Robbie Scott. He was an independent ball, and here he is pitching for a division leader. So everybody's looking for lefties that can get left-handers out. And that's been the big problem. So a lot of left-handed pitchers do better against right-handers. They turn the ball over. They have a slow breaking ball. They have a changeup. But you want somebody like Mayza who throws 95 and can get lefties out on a regular basis.
And Benintendi will draw the walk, confirming the count with a home plate umpire.
So that's not what you want to see from Mayza. The first batter you face is a lefty, and you walk him to start the inning in the 8th in a 2-run game.
Got to see what you have in him. We talk about the auditions for the starting rotation. How about some auditions with some of these young lefties down in that bullpen? Matt Dermody, Tim Mayza, and Aaron Loup.
Runner is going and will take second without a throw. Benintendi with his 18th stolen base on the season.
Yeah, and that's just not paying attention. We have talked about how many stolen bases the Blue Jays have given up to the Red Sox this season. 21 stolen bases, and now Benintendi takes off on Mayza's first move, and Tim didn't even look at it. So that's 22 bases that the Red Sox have stolen against the Blue Jays this season, including 9 in this 3-game series. I mean, you've got to pay attention to the ball game, and you know what? They're running wild on the Blue Jays.
It's their MO. You mentioned 86 steals coming into the game tonight, 2 more tonight. This is the way the Red Sox play this year. And the stolen base, you know, we don't see it as much, and it's been, I guess, devalued with some of the analytics. But talk to me as a player on the field. When another team's running wild on you, it's got to be demoralizing for the guys on the field.
It's distracting for a number of reasons, and I'll tell you why. When you have a base runner at first of all, it's going to divide the attention between the pitcher. He's going to be thinking at first and thinking at home. Secondly, the infielders have to peek at that runner. The last thing they do before that ball is hit is look at the runner at first, and that might take them a half a step away from making a defensive play. Now look at Refsnyder. He's got to get in closer to the bag, and that takes him out of his defensive positioning as well. But you know what? For the longest time, they discounted the impact of stolen bases, and you're seeing it come back. First and foremost, because there's not many catchers that throw well anymore.
How about the outfielders having to play with the guy at second base? A base hit, you got to come in hard to charge it. You know you're going to be throwing home. I mean, speed upsets the whole defense, everybody. And I like that baseball is starting to get more athletes back in.
That's a fair ball past a diving Pierce down the line. Benintendi in to score. Betts racing into second and sliding in with an RBI double. 4-1 Red Sox.
You know, you talk about team baseball, and that's the perfect example. Mookie Betts was intent on hitting the ball to the right side of the infield. Nobody out. You got a man in scoring position. At least he wants to advance him. Now look at this approach. The pitch is away. He stays right on it. He's hitting it to the right side no matter what pitch it is, because he wants to move Benintendi over to third. Well, he gets rewarded for that great team approach by getting a double and driving in Benintendi. So if you think selflessly, then you're going to be rewarded, and Mookie Betts is one of the best at doing that.
How about the first pitch? He recognized that he got a great jump. He took it for him so he could steal second base and get into scoring position. And then knocks him in with that double. Team offense.
Xander Bogaerts 0 for 2 with a walk. Shortstop hitting in the 5 spot for the Red Sox tonight.
And Mookie Betts is going to steal third if you don't stop him.
Yeah, now Ref Snyder's going to come in and get a little bit closer. Just got the heads up from the coaches to, hey, get a little bit closer to the bag.
Boy, a huge secondary lead for Betts too after that pitch was delivered.
Another reason Rajai Davis is such a benefit is he can sit on that bench and he can talk to the young base runners. You saw him with Benintendi just before that last pitch, just giving him ideas, giving him thoughts. Hey, you can steal third too. Watch the pitcher's head. When he turns toward the plate, that's when you have to jump off. All these things that younger guys don't think about. They can steal bases because they're fast. Rajai Davis steals bases because he's fast and he's smart.
And he's experienced. And it speeds up the game on a young pitcher too, doesn't it? Ooh, you got guys running all over the place. The last thing you think about is executing your pitches, and that should be the first thing you should be thinking about.
So Mesa's given up a walk, an RBI double, still nobody out, and it's 2-2 on Bogaerts. Jay Happ had a pretty solid night for the Blue Jays tonight. 6 innings, gave up just 1 run on 4 hits. Did walk 4, although 3 of them were on pitches that absolutely could have gone either way. Struck out 2 tonight. Tom Kohler giving up the 2-run home run in the 7th to Mitch Moreland. And now the Red Sox adding on against Mesa here in the 8th. And they're going to add on a little bit more. That ball smoked into left center. Betts will come in to score easily. Bogaerts on his way to second and in there in a slide, and it's 5-1.
Well, Betts had a productive at bat, and he comes around to score back-to-back doubles for the Red Sox here in the 8th, and they extend their lead. And now Pete Walker's going to come out and try to help out Tim Mesa in this rough start to this inning. A walk and back-to-back doubles.
As the inning started, we said, got to see what you have. Throw one of your young players out against the best that the Boston Red Sox have to offer. Bogaerts, watch him get on top of this high fastball. Cuts down his swing, and with his speed, he's going to turn that ball back through the middle into a double. No chance to get him at second base. RBI double for Bogaerts.
And there's another aspect of speed. It's a ground ball through the infield. It goes to center field, and Bogaerts ends up at second. Young athletic players, and you can see the core of this team is very talented.
Think about the best teams. We were talking about it earlier in the American League. Houston, good core of young players. Red Sox, same thing. Cleveland Indians have some good young players on their team, led by Lindor.
Here's another one of these good young players, Rafael Devers. 2 for 3 tonight. Picks up an in-ball 1.
He's younger than young. He's 20. But even looking at the Indians, their terrific roster is pretty special. Young players. Lindor's 23, Ramirez is 24, Zimmer's 24. And they're very talented, versatile players. Ursula is 25. Yandy Diaz, who's had some big hits this week, is 25.
And now the Yankees have a young core of players come up. The Minnesota Twins, who have won 68 games this year. They have a nice core of young players. That's where it's at.
Well, and even a team like the Dodgers that spends more money than anybody, they just absolutely refused to give up guys like Corey Seager and Cody Bellinger when they were minor leaguers. And the Dodgers were a contending team, and they wanted to go out and get this and get that and make the playoffs. But if teams said, how about Seager or how about Bellinger, the Dodgers said they hung up the phone right there.
Bellinger just active off the roster tonight. He's 21 years old. Got 34 home runs and 79 RBIs. Corey Seager is 23. Seems like he's been around forever.
And this is where the Blue Jays are hoping they are going to be when Guerrero and Bichette and the wave of players that are kind of A-ball and below get closer or get to the major leagues. Devers will take a walk. And John Gibbons out of the pen. It's going to be the end of a rough outing for Tim Meza as Aaron Loop is going to come into the game. Meza does not record an out. 2 walks, 2 hits, 2 runs so far, and 2 men on his responsibility as the Red Sox have broken out to a 5-1 lead. The Red Sox now up 5-1 on the Blue Jays' 8th inning as Aaron Loop comes into the game.
Third reliever of the night for the Blue Jays, second in this inning. 60 games now Aaron Loop has been in. 2-2 with a .422 earned run average. Loopy last worked a couple of nights ago against the Red Sox. Gave up a couple of hits and a run. He's facing Hanley Ramirez, who homered earlier.
Homered last night as well. And Hanley's having a big series. He's 5 for 11 right now in this 3-game set.
A couple home runs, a double. I don't think he likes hitting 7.
You hit, you move up.
Yep.
You know, I was talking about how he was one of the guys that was pointed out that they're hoping that he gets hot against left-handed pitching because his career numbers say that he will. Career versus lefties, .299 with a .905 on base plus slugging.
They got Devers hung up, and now they throw it to second. He's safe there, and they throw it away.
Man.
Oh my!
The Blue Jays caught a huge break in that Devers broke to second. Bogarts didn't break to third. And then another errant throw, and they don't get anybody.
Bogarts broke initially, and that's what Devers read. And then Bogey stopped, and then Devers continued. Watch the second base runner. He's going to take off toward third, and Devers sees that, and then he realized that Bogarts didn't run. Then the throws it late at second, and then they throw wild to third. So again, the Blue Jays have routine plays defensively that they can't get outs on.
And Refsnyder's having a tough night. That is 3 errant throws that we have seen from Refsnyder. And I don't know, have they scored that a double steal?
I would think it's a double steal. The most unusual double steal you'll ever see.
I mean, a good throw gets him, but unless the throw, gets past the third baseman, they don't usually give an error on that kind of a play. But Refsnyder knows that his throws just have been off the mark tonight.
Right, and the throw to second, Devers beat the throw to second, so that's a stolen base, and then Bogarts ends up in third, and it's just an errant throw. I mean, that would be the same if it was a bad throw from the catcher to second.
Infield in now for the Blue Jays.
There's been some wild throws in this series. And that was another one. They should have had an out there somewhere.
Well, Devers, his responsibility is to look at the runner ahead of him, and when Bogarts took off toward third, Devers saw that, but he didn't continue to look at the runner because Bogarts stopped about shortstop.
He looked back at the catcher.
Strike 3 called at the knees to get Ramirez. All he says is it's down. Not happy with that call. There's the first out.
Now you can see Ramirez turning to the home plate umpire and just telling him it was down. Sean Barber, the home plate umpire, and watch this low pitch. It's called a strike. And Raffi Lopez has been trying to get that pitch called for him all night long, and it finally works with Ramirez at the plate.
By the way, it is officially now been scored a double steal for Bogarts and Devers. The infield remains in with a 1 out. And the batter is Mitch Moreland, who hit a pinch hit 2-run homer his last time up off Tom Kohler.
Well, that's 11 stolen bases in 3 games for the Red Sox. They have now stolen 24 bases all season long against the Blue Jays.
24 steals in 13 games against the Blue Jays this year.
Mitch Moreland has a chance to have a pretty decent night. He didn't even start this game. Knocked in a couple of runs last time with a home run. Now he's got a couple of more in scoring position, and the infield has to come in.
Two in the 7th to break the tie. 2 more in the 8th here for Boston. Looking to sweep the series and pick up a game and a half. Increase their lead on the Yankees by a game and a half today, with the Yankees losing a doubleheader to Cleveland.
The Red Sox had lead it 5-1. They have now outscored the Blue Jays 47-17 in the last 7 games here at Rogers Center.
Two and 1 the count. Moreland, little jam shot over the drawn in infield, and this base hit's going to score a couple. And again, the double steal means the infield has to come in, means the ball has a better chance of finding a hole or some green somewhere, and it did to make it 7-1.
You don't have to hit it hard with the infield in, just get it softly into the outfield. Moreland didn't start this game. He's got 2 swings at the baseball. He's got 4 RBIs.
Ties his season high. It's the 3rd time Moreland's driven in 4 in a game. And they tell you, just get it in the air, and he does. Over the drawn-in infield, it barely hits the turf beyond the dirt at second base. 2 runs come in to score, and the Red Sox have made the most of their stolen bases.
Christina Vasquez, the batter, is 0 for 3. Of course, the Blue Jays have been without Russell Martin now for a while. He's on the DL, and whether he's hitting well or not hitting well, his absence is definitely noticeable. He's always missed.
No question about it. Russell threw on the field today, and he's going to go to Florida to start his rehab with baseball activities, and there is a chance that he's going to come back soon. That's great news, and obviously you want to finish up on the active roster playing before you go into the off season. But Russell was out here throwing about 120 feet today, which was a real good sign. He's trying to overcome that oblique injury. Bogart's endeavors talking about that mix-up on the double steal that ended up as a double steal.
1-2 fouled back.
But it shouldn't have. But everything worked out, and now they can laugh about it.
They can laugh about it now. The only mistake Devers made, he had his eye on the runner ahead of him, but as soon as he thought he went, he took his eyes off of him.
One, two again. And the slow breaking ball misses outside. And there's Jackie Bradley Jr. waiting for an opportunity to come back before too long. Out with a thumb injury, make a good team even better.
He's eligible to come back on Saturday, and it sounds like he will be activated on Saturday.
A base hit into left field. Vasquez moves Moreland up to second, and the Red Sox just keep piling on.
Red Sox feel like they're turning the corner when it comes to injuries. Vasquez in the game because of his 4-for-4 effort the other day. So they wanted to get his bat, keep it in the lineup. And when you're swinging a hot bat, this is what happens. Change up down and away, and you slap at it, and you're able to hit it solidly and get it into the outfield. He's been on base 2 times tonight.
Back to the top of the order for Rajay Davis. Davis tonight 0 for 3 with a walk. The Blue Jays had a 1-0 lead in this game, and the home run by Raffi Lopez back in the 3rd. Boston tied it in the 5th, took the lead in the 7th, and they're pulling away here in the 8th. This crowd of better than 37,000 tonight starting to thin a little bit here in the 8th inning.
Red Sox had a big 7th inning in the first game in this series. 4 runs in the 7th inning to bust open that game. The offense came back and made it a 1-run game before losing. That was on Monday. Scored a run in the 7th and the 8th in last night's game also. They have been rough on the Jays bullpen this series.
Again the 0-2 and a little bit inside for ball 1. 7 men have come to the plate before Davis. He's the 8th batter this inning for the Red Sox. There have been 2 walks, 4 hits, 3 steals, and 4 runs in this inning so far for Boston. Nobody up in the Blue Jays pen, so Luke looks like he'll be out there to at least get through this inning.
Yeah, the Blue Jays are looking at a 7-game road trip, 4 into Baltimore, and that's never an easy stop when you have 4 games against the Orioles at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Then you go right back in to Fenway Park. So the upcoming 7-game road trip, certainly not one that's going to be easy. The only positive is the fact that the rosters can expand on Friday. Can call up replacements and extra pitchers. Talk about having a couple of relievers come up and
come in waves.
Yeah.
You know, depending on when their seasons get over.
Maybe Carlos Ramirez, right, is a guy that we're going to see. Guys put up incredible numbers in the minors for the Blue Jays this year. Swing and a miss, and Davis gone 2 down.
Third time tonight that Rajay has struck out. He's also walked. Aaron Luke got him with a changeup down and away.
Carlos Ramirez, a guy who signed with the Blue Jays in 2009 as a position player, an outfielder, just converted to a pitcher this year, and has pitched at AA and AAA, 37 2/3 innings, and has not given up an earned run. 0 earned runs as a pitcher so far this year.
26 years old.
He is 26 years old.
A little bit of a late start because of him being a position player. Well, if it works out like Michael Givens we'll see in Baltimore, that's Matt Dermody starting to warm up. Michael Givens was a position player for the Orioles. He's turned into a pretty good reliever, hasn't he?
How about Kenley Jansen?
Oh, he was done okay.
He was a catcher. And he's become the closer for the Dodgers.
One more stolen base stat for you. 24 steals for the Red Sox this year against the Blue Jays. The 92 Brewers are the only team to ever steal more bases against the Blue Jays in one season. They stole 32 in 92, a year where the Blue Jays won the World Series. Red Sox were 24 this year.
I think there was a game that year against the Brewers where we lost 22-2 or something like that.
I think it was the day David Cone was acquired. He didn't pitch in it, but it was the day he showed up, right?
Yeah, he was going to pitch the next night.
He's probably thinking to himself, man, what am I doing here?
Yeah, what did I get myself into?
I actually got into that game after it got to 20-2.
As a pitcher?
No.
Oh.
As a defender, I was chasing that ball all over the field that night. I wish I would have pitched. Never got the opportunity.
Nunez waiting, the count, of ball and 2 strikes. Luke now ready and misses way inside, almost hit him in the knee. Luke's thrown 26 pitches since coming into this game. Meza faced 4 batters this inning, didn't get an out, all 4 scored. Luke's gotten a couple of outs via the strikeout, but has also given up 2 hits and a couple of Meza's runs. Swing and a miss, and the inning is finally over. 4 runs for the Red Sox, 7-1 lead to go into the bottom of the 8th. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Again, here are Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn from the Samsung Broadcast Studio.
Fans, plenty more MLB action here on the network. It's a series finale between the Athletics and the Angels tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific time on Sportsnet 1 and Sportsnet Now. Oakland will give the ball to right-hander Kendall Graveman. The Angels return to rookie right-hander Parker Bridwell. You can catch that once again on Sportsnet 1 and Sportsnet Now at the top of the hour. Dan.
Thank you, Hazel. Parker Bridwell's been a really nice story for the Angels this year as they vie for a playoff spot. Joe Kelly into the game now for the Red Sox.
Another one of those former starters who has transitioned into the bullpen, in the back end of the bullpen, and it's worked out nicely for Joe Kelly. 42 games this year. He's 3-1 with a 268 earned run average. He was a starter as recently as 2015. He made 25 starts for the Red Sox, but they put him in the bullpen, and it's worked out nice. He's got a good arm, good fastball, upper 90s with his fastball.
Steve Pearce leads it off and gets a fastball in for a strike to get the inning underway. Pearce is 1 for 3 tonight, had a double back in the first. He'll be followed by Bautista and Morales. Ground ball to the right side for the first out of the inning.
Joe Kelly is one of those guys at the back end that can give you some big innings, and we mentioned Addison Reed and Craig Kimbrel are down tonight. Now it's a 7-1 game, so they wouldn't be utilized in this game anyway. But at the same time, Kelly can pick up the slack if indeed this was a closer game. He could be a guy you could lean on in the 8th inning.
He's got plenty of experience. He's pitched for the Cardinals. He's pitched with the Red Sox. Former 3rd-round draft pick of the Cardinals in 2009. He's not a real big guy, but boy, what a fastball he possesses.
I want to update one note we were giving about Carlos Ramirez, the young pitching or 26-year-old pitching prospect for the Blue Jays. Actually started transitioning from outfielder to pitcher back in 2014. And has been pretty much a pitcher full time ever since then. Entirely a pitcher this year, AA and AAA, and again it has not allowed an earned run in 37 2/3 innings, 16 hits, 45 strikeouts. You got to believe that he's going to be up with a big club at some point in the next couple of days.
That was a name that some of the coaches have already said, boy, wouldn't that be interesting to see if we can see what we have here. And this guy is 6'5", isn't he? Yep,
6'5", 205, right-hander. It is expected Teoscar Hernandez will come up at some point. It's expected Michael Saunders will come up at some point. Anthony Alford, not so sure. You don't get a feel one way or the other when you ask people whether Alford will be up in September. I would imagine Campos would come back once his 10 days are up.
I think we'll see Luke Maile as well.
Maile.
And he's healthy again after knee surgery, and he did a nice job catching. He didn't hit much, but he did a heck of a job catching for the Blue Jays while he was here.
And he's finishing up in Buffalo now.
Yeah.
He's healthy again and catching. I think it's important for the injured players, the ones who can get back, and try and play in a few games before the season's over.
2-2 to Bautista. And a curveball gets him. What a pitch. 2 down.
Kelly threw some great curveballs in this at bat, and it's an explosive curveball in it. It comes out of his hand, looks like a fastball, and then it breaks, and it's got tight spin. Watch the spin on this breaking ball. It is tight, and that thing bites, and you can see it buckled Bautista's knees as he takes a called 3rd strike. But Kelly's got good stuff. I mean, there's no question about his stuff.
When he was a starter, you'd say, how's anybody hitting this guy? It really didn't work out for him as a starter. There's a changeup. As a starter for the Red Sox, his last season in 2015, through 134 innings, gave up 145 hits, but he had 110 strikeouts.
2 down and the bases empty. 7-1 Red Sox, bottom of the 8th, and down and in, a ball and a strike down to Morales.
Another changeup he pulled badly inside off the plate.
He's got to see a lower percentage of fastballs than anybody on the team, maybe anybody in the league.
Yeah, he has really gotten a lot of slow breaking balls. Anybody that's got a slow curveball throws it down and in when he's batting left-handed.
There's a fastball at 99, and he fouls it back.
If I were the Red Sox, I might revisit Joe Kelly as a starter. Last couple of years, he's come around a little bit, a little better command of his fastball. He's got the curveball and the changeup, and he might be interesting to run back out there, give it another try as a starter. And he began his career, as you mentioned, Pat, in the St. Louis system as a starter.
Ahead 1-2. And he got him with a changeup, a strikeout to end the inning. That's a really strong inning for Joe Kelly. End of 8, 7-1 Boston.
Center and CF Toronto Eden Center are the official team shops for your Toronto Blue Jays. Authentic alternate red cap and jersey available now. Get yours today at select J-Shop locations, jshop.ca, or by calling 1-877-J-Shop. To the ninth inning we go. Dan Shulman, Buck Martinez, and Pat Tabler. Gentlemen.
Thank you, Hazel. Top of the ninth, the Red Sox up 7-1, and yet another left-hander out of the Blue Jays pen. This one is Matt Dermody.
The second young lefty that we have seen in 2 innings to start for the Blue Jays. Matt Dermody will get the ninth inning, and he will start exactly where Tim Mayza started last inning, facing Benintendi, Betts, and Bogarts. Dermody's been throwing the ball better. His slider has been better. He's held lefties to a 158 average this season.
Andrew Benintendi will lead it off in the ninth for the Red Sox, just as he did in the eighth when he drew a walk and then started a 4-run uprising for Boston. First pitch swinging and a ground ball to second. Ref Snyder up with it and on to first for the out.
Hit a home run with any project this season. Home Hardware, proud sponsor of the Toronto Blue Jays.
One down in the ninth inning, and the Red Sox on their way to a sweep and a very productive day, considering the second place team of the division, the Yankees, were swept in a doubleheader by the Cleveland Indians earlier today. Mookie Betts the batter, and he'll take a strike.
What does that do for the wild card now with New York losing both of those games?
It tightens it up quite a bit.
Minnesota has a chance to pull within 1 game of the first wild card.
New York now is 70-62. Minnesota
68-63.
Minnesota's winning 5-0 at home against the White Sox.
So they'd be a game back if they won.
Yeah, a game back of the first wild card.
Right. And Baltimore is a game back of Minnesota right now, as are the Angels, and the Angels are playing tonight. They're playing Oakland. Just getting started in a few minutes. With Kansas City, Texas, Seattle, and Tampa Bay not that far out, but a little bit of room right now between the top 4 and the next 4. Left center field, Pilar coming over, and he runs it down.
Kevin Pilar made a terrific catch to rob Mookie Betts of an extra base hit in Monday night's game, and then watch where he is. He's almost in the same spot, but this time he's got to go to the alley on the left side of center, and he runs it down. Stays on his feet this time. Much easier play for him.
What's his teammates going to tell Mookie Betts when he gets back into that dugout?
Find somebody else.
Yeah. Pick on somebody else.
Hit
Mookie.
it to somebody else, Mookie. That doesn't work.
That's an out.
Xander Bogaerts 1 for 3. RBI double his last time up. And the breaking ball in for a strike. I'll tell you what Minnesota's doing is really impressive, especially considering that back at the end of July they dealt away a couple of players. They picked up Jaime Garcia, then traded him a week later, and then they traded their closer Brandon Kinsler, but then they started playing well again and they're back in the race.
Big Sexy's got him turned around. Bartolo Colon, 44 years old, pitching great, having fun. I think he's making everybody relax.
Yeah, he does that.
But they've done a great job. You know, Jaime Garcia won his only start for Minnesota too, and then they kind of fell out of it, and there was a perfect storm as Kansas City and Cleveland got out at the same time. The Twins were losing to the Dodgers on the West Coast.
In the air to center field, should it be routine? And the inning is over. To the bottom of the ninth, last chance for the Blue Jays, down 7-1.
Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by award-winning Honda Marine. Great days on the water begin with Honda.
On this one.
To the bottom of the ninth at Rogers Center with the Red Sox in command with a 7-1 lead. 3 outs away from a sweep of this series here in Toronto. Joe Kelly's back out for his second inning of work after a very impressive 8th inning. Blue Jays off to Baltimore after the game tonight. A 4-game series at Camden Yards starts tomorrow against a team in the Orioles that has won 7 in a row. Kevin Pillar skies the first pitch up in the air, first base side in foul territory. Hanley Ramirez will make the play, 1 down. Now for a preview of what's coming up on Sportsnet Central. Here are Carolyn Cameron and Carly Agro. What a story Shapovalov has been in the last month or so. A lot of excitement for Canadian tennis fans. Here's Ryan Goins, 1 for 2 with a walk, extended the hitting streak to a 9-gamer. And a fastball drilled in at 100 miles per hour. Catches the outside corner to jump out in front, 0-2.
Another 100-mile-an-hour fastball, and we talked about his breaking ball and his changeup. And I know, yeah, well, his velocity plays up pitching out of the bullpen, but he's kind of an intriguing guy for me.
Pitching out of the stretch, 100 in his bid coming out of the bullpen, pitching out of the stretch. He'll do that as a starter. We've seen him as a starter just pitch out of the stretch from the beginning of the ball game.
One and 2 the count, and the pitch bounced in a changeup. The Blue Jays will send Marco Estrada to the mound tomorrow night against Jeremy Hellickson. 7 o'clock start from Camden Yards. Joe Biagini on Friday. Marcus Stroman back on the mound Saturday, and then Brett Anderson will make his second start for the Blue Jays on Sunday afternoon. 3 night games, then a day game. The 2-2.
You know, it's lost in all the runs that the Baltimore Orioles have been scoring. They've been getting some pretty good pitching. Kevin Gausman was really good his last time out. Dylan Bundy was awesome in his start last night.
Like 1 hit, 12 strikeouts, awesome.
Right. Ubaldo Jimenez, I think, pitched recently and pitched really well for him.
Jeremy Hellickson pitched a 4-hitter his last time out over 7 innings. So, yeah, they are pitching a little bit better. And you're right. Everybody's looking at the offense, but at the same time, when you string 7 wins together, chances are you are pitching well. Kevin Gausman goes on Friday against Biagini, and it looks like he's figured things out. Miley, he's pitched well of late.
3-2. And Goins hits it to left field fairly deep, but playable shy of the warning track for Davis. And that's the second out here in the bottom of the 9th. So the Red Sox just keep on rolling. They will go to 19 games over the 500 mark. And John Farrell will actually break a tie with Jimmy Williams for the 6th most wins in franchise history with a win tonight. This will be number 415 for Farrell. Caught on the fly. That soft liner will end the game as Barney is retired, and that's your ball game, and that's your series. The Red Sox come to Toronto and they sweep it. Kelly will finish it off Red Sox steal a ton of bases. Moreland hits a big home run. Hanley Ramirez a couple of home runs in the series. And Boston extends its lead in the American League East over the Yankees.
And the Red Sox are now 10-3 against the Blue Jays, and they have outscored them 49-17 in the last 7 games they've played here at Rogers Center. They've really been dominant. Their swinging the bat's great. They had another good pitching effort tonight from Rick Porcello, following up what Sale did last night.
Shows you what some good young talent can do. The Red Sox have that. They seem to be going this way, upwards, as they head to a big series against the Yankees starting tomorrow night. Blue Jays hop on a plane, head down to Baltimore for 4 big ones against the Orioles.
You can see that game tomorrow night here on Sportsnet. Red Sox beat the Blue Jays 7-1. Time now for Sportsnet Central. Back to the studio again with Carolyn and Carly.